Oh, wow. Wow, 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 wow. What is up, fam-a-lam?
Body so T, I almost thought she was British. I'm trying to.
Why? What is up, my duders? Why didn't you stream on 420? Because we were blazing it. Did you win? Slowly. Slowly. I don't have an expensive watch yet. No, sorry. I feel like suspenders are OP. I think it's better than a belt. And my pants don't have belt loops, so. Can you show your fit? I already took my suit off. So I just have my pants and shirt on. Yeah, I mean, I think it probably went about as well, I guess, as we could have reasonably expected. We cleared a lot of the docket, which was good. Any surprises? Probably not. I don't think so. I think that my biggest fear, my nightmare, paranoia, anxiety mode was that somehow this case was going to get kicked back 6 months or to 2017 or some bullshit. But it seemed like the judge... It feels like the judge... well, I mean, every single time the judges rolled on anything or talked to anybody, it seems like they think this is a bullshit case, which is good. I shouldn't say that, but they're kind of tired of the plaintiff antics. So the... she said that if we go to trial, it would likely be... I think she said either July 2nd or August 8th. She said it would probably be one of those 2 days. But the depositions are forced now to happen within the next 10 days, which is good. So finally, that'll be done with. And then she said she would expect, it might have been July 3rd or August 10th, maybe. So the depositions will be done within the next 10 days. And then she said she expected their MSJ response within that 10 days after, which is nice because they never actually filed a response to our motion for summary judgment. So, and then she said that it's nice. She's very conscientious, I guess, of my legal fees because she said that she would let us know if we're going to trial or not. She said she expects to rule on the deposition. Or I'm sorry, she expects to rule on the motion for summary judgment by end of May, early June. So that's good. What if Doe doesn't show for a depo within 10 days? She will. Otherwise, I don't know. The case might get tossed. I don't know. She was pretty upset about the plaintiff. Like, cause she just skipped her deposition and she was pretty, and the excuse they gave for it was ridiculous. And then even after skipping the deposition and not having a good excuse, when she said 10 days, the guy was still like, oh, well, my client is in Illinois. And so, we don't know if she can make it. And she's like, the judge's like, she's got 10 days, figure it out. It's like, what about, can we have 5 more days? Like, bro, is she forced to be deposed first? I don't know. It'll just be, I don't know if there's like an order. I don't know if it matters much or not, but I really don't know. I imagine Doe thinks she's already maximized damage on you, and if she thinks she can't win, couldn't she just drop it before the depo? I don't know what the penalty would be for just dropping the case or not. I'm not sure. Like, if you would just drop it out of nowhere, I don't know if you can do that at this point. But I mean, I imagine she wants to drag it out to trial. She can, I guess, maybe. I'm not really sure I don't know what they plan on. I don't know what they think trial is going to be. Judge Becerra, I think is how you pronounce it, was going over the thing, and she's like, it'll probably be, I don't know if she gave an estimate for how many days the trial would be. I think she said 2 or 3 days. And then my lawyer said 1 day. And then their lawyer was like, we think we're going to need 5 days, a 5-day trial. And the judge was like, what? And they're like, well, yeah, we have so many witnesses to call. And the judge was like, 3 days max. And I'm like, okay. Destiny's not in his room. Oh, sorry, hold on. Well, hi, what's up?
Hey, congrats somewhat on the hearing.
Yeah, I
It
guess, yeah.
was mostly good. Yeah, I think Brettler did a really good job I felt like it was that one part where he was like, he started just like going in and was like, "There's an issue of subject matter jurisdiction," and the judge was like,
Listen, he's a trial lawyer, okay? He's supposed to be bombastic, okay? What do you want him to say?
"Well,
She was
no,
smiling.
he did good. 9
Yeah.
out of 10.
She
9
was
out of 10
she
for
was
Brett
smiling.
Miller.
She was smiling when she said it. She was like, "You can tone down the language a little bit." And then I think and then he used a different adjective to describe it, and she was like, "Thank you."
Yeah. But
yeah.
that was great, and it was funny where the judge was just like not even like he does his spiel about subject matter jurisdiction. She didn't even touch it. She just was like, and so what we're gonna do, and I was like, yeah, that sounds.
Well, I
right.
think because we need party depo, or at the very least my deposition, yeah. But
Well,
then
yeah, and whenever he was making the argument of like, well, we already had the hearing, I was like, this is a valiant effort that will never succeed. You know, he needs to make this argument, but yeah, no, she will never.
oh
ever
yeah, why do we have
accept
to do
this.
depositions? We already have an evidentiary hearing under oath, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Hey,
which is
listen,
a good argument.
That's
but
he
no.
flew all the way out here. He better be making every goddamn argument he can. Okay,
Yeah.
that's his fucking job.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And then the okay, there were two parts. Okay, I know you want me to be nice to the judge, so I'm gonna try to be nice to him. There are the two or three parts where it was like, seriously, where she was like, this is a court where we don't litigate via sanctions, all right? So we're just gonna dismiss the sanctions without prejudice. If you need to take up an issue, you can do it at the end of the trial after everything's over.
Sure. So
That was a little silly
well,
to me.
no. So this is my perspective on it. Okay, is that right now, bro? And then now I had a second guy here who I won't dox or whatever, but who works in the something down here. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The Southern District of Florida is like so swamped with cases, and I mean, you were on the call. You heard that even she was saying like, I think she's got 2 civil
she's got
cases
the
for
deputy.
her. She's in the middle of a criminal trial right now. Like they have so much stuff. My feeling, based on what other people have told me, is that if this was like a much cleaner, like there wasn't a whole bunch of shit flying around right now, that there'd probably be a lot more negative of a response against the plaintiff side. But the fact is my guess is even if you're a clerk, right? You look at a docket, 250 fucking entries on a civil case like this. It just probably looks like both sides are just throwing shit back and forth. And then if somebody wants to rule 11 something based on like an exact fact that's put in then on her mind, she's probably like, bro, we can just litigate this at court or whatever. I doubt, like, if it was a more like formal argument of like, listen, this isn't going to be litigated at court. It's not even a relevant fact. The opposition put a notice, but like, I can't imagine she spent a ton of time pouring through the record on this one. Yeah.
I'm sympathetic on the pedo jacketing. I don't expect the court to like just like be like the slow down. We do this. Missing a deposition.
Oh, that
like
was
that, and not leveling punitive sanctions for that. I would never expect that to go that way. Like in the middle of that, it is totally appropriate in the middle of litigation. If someone fucks up a depo that bad, for her to at least go, we're going to grant it to the extent that she needs to pay the fees now. And then if there needs to be anything further, then we can put it later. It's just, in my experience, that's how judges do not like letting that shit slide. But
and they tried to ask for more time even after the 10-day.
Okay, it was insane to do that when they fucked up the depots.
And didn't get punished for it, and he was still, my God.
And it's like, literally, these are fucking law professors. If there's ever a professor that is understanding that you have to go do a deposition in person, it's going to be a law professor.
Mm-hmm.
They'll let her go do it. I mean, it's going to be funny for her to explain what the lawsuit's about to her professors, because they're definitely going to ask. So
she can just fly down on a weekend. That was a bullshit excuse. She's fucking tweet. You can go look at her Twitter. She's tweeting like fucking 3 a.m. and going through fucking Reddit threads. She has time to come down to her home state and do a fucking deposition. Okay.
She has time to do Twitter Spaces. She can do depo through Twitter Spaces.
Yeah, true.
But I don't know about anything else. But I mean, no, like I think that the sanctions thing, I was like, really, like and also to be clear, like the depo sanctions, like the sanctions regarding the depots, that wouldn't be a very complicated. Like they literally discussed it. Like, there's not much more to it. You guys got a CNA. You guys were at the depot. She heard their excuse. There's not really a reason to delay it other than she just, like you said, she just wants to move things along, which whatever, that's fine. The part where she was like, she like chewed them out for not responding to the MSJ. That was like, it was funny because it was like, she does that and then goes, and so we're going to give you more time to respond.
Well, that's just court, bro. I mean, look at all the Trump shit. Like, so I noticed that you guys aren't releasing people when I'm telling you to from habeas claims. I noticed that you guys aren't following through on any of my orders. What's going on? And they're like, well, we don't know. ICE isn't communicating with us. And the judge is like, It's like the meme, like, okay, well, our entire economy is failing. Everything around the world is fucked. $10 billion more to Israel, right? It's like that meme. It's like, okay, well, none of the litigators are following our orders. Nobody's responding to subpoenas. You have 2 more weeks to comply. It's like, but hey, listen, whatever. I'm not going to complain.
It's just funny for a judge.
I do agree.
To on the record say you didn't respond to an MSJ.
That is kind of wild. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Well, I know why, but yeah.
Yeah, if she had said something along the lines of like this discovery request, but she even on the record was like your arguments for why the 56D was filed don't make sense.
Yeah,
she's like, you don't need party depositions
because it's
to
AI.
respond to this MSJ.
Yeah, it's AI. Yeah. All of the shit they've been. I think around halfway through this court case, you can see the writing style changed a lot, and then
the most recent one, 238. I was going through it with somebody, and it was like, this is so clearly AI. Like even just the formatting, you can tell it's AI.
Sure.
Like, and I know we know it is, but like this one is like the most flagrant. It's insane. But yeah, that was wild. And then just her just like being like, let me just take a minute to talk about my schedule with y'all. It was very funny to me because it's like that's when I could tell I was like, yeah, this person is under a lot. Like she's having to deal with shit. But I will say, not to gas you up too much. Her saying, I want to get the MSJs in, and then I'm going to rule on it by the end of May, June.
Yeah. And
if it's just going to be summary judgment, I'm going to take it off of the schedule. That is a very, very good signal from the judge.
Yeah, she seemed
an incredibly good signal.
Yeah, she seemed to want to kick things along pretty quickly. Yeah, because she was like, I think we have a 10-day deadline for depots, and then 10 days after that the MSJ, and she said she'd probably rule on it at end of May, early June to let me know ahead of time if I had to prepare for trial even, which was a nice thing to hear. Yeah.
And Brett, they're going in person, Judge. These are going to be in-person depots.
I leaned over and I was whispering after Andrew asked, because I was whispering to the co-counsel, and I was like, can you write down and make sure that he asks that it has to be in person? Because I had a fear. I'm so glad that somebody brought it up or it came up. I think the other side it came up because I didn't want to leave that courtroom with them emailing. It's like, okay, well, Pixie's available for a call in 2 days, and the judge didn't actually specify if we have to do it. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. No, exactly. Like that's like he fucking delivered there. Dude, yeah, to me, the judge saying that stuff about like if this, that, or the other, that means that the judge right now is looking at the MSJ going like, okay, I'm going to grant this, but I don't want to
get overruled because you didn't do party depots. Yeah.
Yeah,
and that appeal would be so. Yeah, that would just be crazy. Yeah.
And then also, since you're doing party depots, you might as well get the response. Then there's no like we didn't get a chance to respond. Blah blah blah. Like it is a full like just get through the procedure. But like. Yeah, dude, whenever they were like, how many days do you need for trial? And they were like, 5
days? What do you have? And he named 2 witnesses. What did he even, he had the weirdo expert witness, and then.
Yeah. Is he even an expert? Dude, Brettler going in like, he's not an expert, Your Honor. He's not.
Funny. I didn't know
he just copied Kiwi Farms. Yeah, all they did is bring someone in that copy-pasted Kiwi Farms.
Like
dude,
the judges,
I
like how my lawyer started to sound like a fucking terminally online dude. The judge was like, what the fuck is a Kiwi farm? Is he a farmer? What the fuck does that even mean?
That was insane. and then whenever Brettler's just like, oh, Judge, it's like 1 to 2 days. We each have 1 witness. Like he was like so exasperated. Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Because every single thing about like every part of this, like I've asked them, we're like, is there like every time I start to ask them a question, it's like, what does it mean? And they're like, we have no idea. We've never seen a 56D reply to an MSJ before. We have no idea what that means. We've never seen somebody just like skip their deposition. We don't know what happens at this. But yeah,
the amount of research I've had to do to comment on this case is so stupid. Like I'm doing more work on this than like actual like Supreme Court opinions. It's like, Jesus, what the fuck is happening? I'm sure like I feel bad for this judge because they also have to like balance all this where it's like, because I mean, like, think about it, like if you fuck something up and the judge comes down on you really hard and then it goes to the appeals court court's like, actually, there was a way to do it. We just haven't done it in 90 years. So this judge fucked up, blah, blah, blah. So like, I am sympathetic in that regard.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. Jesus.
Well, I'm curious what they're expecting.
Get hyped for depots.
Because I've done like, there's so much of me. She had so many girls talking to her. I've produced so many fucking chat logs. Everybody's leaked every fucking thing about me on the internet. I just don't understand what they're, and like even on Kiwi Farms, and I've seen other people saying like, oh yeah, when Destiny gets deposed, it's over for him. Initially, it was like, oh, when he gets sued and all these girls come forward, it's over for him. And then it was like when he go through discovery, it's going to be over for him. And now it's when he gets deposed, it's going to be over for him. Like, what do they think? Like, what could you possibly think is going to come out in the deposition that we haven't already covered a million times over? Meanwhile, her getting deposed, that's going to be a breakdown event for her. Like that's going to be
exactly.
Like he was saying we were going to be done with it in 4 or 5 hours. I think that's going to be an 8-hour depo, and I think she's going to have multiple cry breaks because it's going to be a brutal deposition for her. That's going to be an insanely brutal deposition.
Think about how many times she's going to say like. I mean, that's going to take forever. But
good one.
The fucking
All of us showing up with the largest glasses of water. Yeah. Just kidding.
No, well, because think about this. Like at the hearing, you guys both provided testimony and were crossed. Okay, and Bretler was right. Nothing's really changed in the sense of like
On my
what
side,
that
yeah.
testimony would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you think about it, you guys have had the chance to depose a certain number of witnesses that are associated with her who have all said things that now y'all can go to her and say,
What about this? What about
these,
this? What
yeah,
about this?
they
Yeah.
said this stuff. What do you have to say about it?
Yeah.
And it's gonna be brutal because like
Because
yeah, I don't know,
there's not
man.
going to be any like character impeaching like
No.
nothing has changed on my end. Meanwhile, yeah, on her end, like, so why did you lie to Lauren about this?
Well,
Why did you
to be
lie to your ex
fair,
about this? Why did you lie? What?
now they're going to show that you truly did know that Solo was not a minor, but was your actual agent and go-between to
Oh,
get
true. My go
Horn.
between.
You needed somebody to act as your water
So I could be
carrier
the
to get
John.
the
Yeah. Jesus
Gunga
Christ.
Din. But like, dude, I swear to God, like it's that like reading that was the funniest thing where they're like, actually, he was a go-between, and
Yeah.
it's like
Which
I
basically
told
makes
to-
it the same thing. Yeah.
I told it to Moot yesterday, where it's like so funny because like whenever anybody talks about like child sexual assault and stuff, it's always like, oh, this is like a strict liability. So like as long as you intended the act, not even knowing their age, it's like, well, in this case, he didn't. He intended to send it to an 18-year-old, and then he did send it to somebody that was over the age of 18.
Yeah, it's
So
all their
what the
arguments
fuck
on
are we
it are just
talking
all
about?
like so. Not to mention the fact that none of this is even relevant to any of the elements of the
No,
Cardi
of course
statute
not.
at all. It's all just pedo jacketing bullshit. Yeah, but
Yeah, no,
good
dude,
times,
it's
good memes.
it's crazy. I don't know, like.
Like there is
So
a world where
do you
I mean,
think
obviously,
you're gonna get deposed by Joan via Zoom? Do you think she's gonna Zoom call you and depose you?
no, I think
Or
she'll
do you
show up for that
finally
one.
appear?
I think she'll show up for that one
Okay.
because they've shown up for their single deposition, right? For the poor girl, the Rose girl. But that's the
Yeah,
only
yeah,
one she's
yeah,
been in
yeah.
person for. So I'm sure they'll show up for mine. I'm definitely going to Pixies. Hell yeah. I'm pretty sure I have a
Dude,
right to be
kidding
there.
me? Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus.
Like I don't. Yeah, I don't know, man. We were. I'm really glad you guys fought to get her to not be anonymous at trial. That was so like. I don't know. I think it's like
It's an
whatever
abuse of
about her
the
getting
yeah because like yeah
like because like the trials that I've seen where like people have not been allowed to be anonymous and like the context of those trials where it's like really like this we need it for this and like not even looking at her like out of court statements and all that stuff and the amount of attention she's drawing to herself, not even talking about that, just like the nature of this trial, it needing to be like anonymous at trial is it's just
Oh well, I
ridiculous.
mean,
And
like
it's
I think I agree with the underlying rationale of the Cardi statute that allows you to proceed under pseudonym if you're bringing a private cause of action, just because of the nature of the material. Like, how many women would never pursue a court case? Because, like, think about it. Like, if it's revenge porn and you don't want people to know about it, but you're going to sue somebody and then plaster your name all over it.
Well-
But I mean, the facts of this case kind of fuck all of that up because one, she has put her name all over it just using an online name, and then two, she's publishing the fucking URLs and the search terms in the goddamn complaint so people can go look it up, which is just unbelievably crazy to me.
Well, it's that, and then it's just like, it's all right. Maybe I'm too jaded from like seeing the like way worse trials, but it's like, for me, whenever it's like, even if it's like this person didn't want it to be public, but it's like these are like consensual acts. They're not like extreme acts. They're not things that are like so crazy that they would like truly destroy a person. It's like
sure,
I've seen
I kind of
people that
understand what you
like
mean, yeah.
I feel like rape victims that didn't get to be anonymous. Like it's like like it's so it's kind of silly to me. Where
No,
it's
that's
like,
true,
oh,
yeah. And I think I don't even
Like-
know if this is a federal rule yet or if it varies state by state, where I think even child rape victims, I think you still have a right in some states to
The-
confront them directly on the stand. They might have special
Yeah,
exceptions.
there's certain rules around it. And like whenever your child's giving testimony, there's like a whole bunch of caveats. But like children's names are like they just use at trial, they sometimes will use their names. They just put their initials in the record.
Sure.
And then like especially if it's like the person's an adult now, that also is kind of a harder fight. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
That whole thing is like it's really crazy.
Yeah, getting to label yourself
and-
as a Jane Doe in a case like this is pretty silly, I think. Yeah.
Well, and also like then whenever you take into account all of her behavior, it's just
beyond the pale.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm really excited for like I hope it gets done in summary judgment, but at the same time, like if it doesn't, dude, the pretrial conference is going to be insane. Like that's gonna be. I might go to the courthouse for that one. Like that one. That's some like.
I don't mind if like the summary judgment. I just hope the judge writes a lot on it if I do win at summary judgment. Otherwise, I mean, like if she says she's going to rule on the MSJ, if it ends up being early June, wait, yeah, she said if she said late May or early June. I mean, like if the trial could have been on July 3rd anyway. I mean, like because that obviously it looks better for me to win a trial, I think, than an MSJ.
Well,
but I mean, as long as she writes enough on the MSJ, like I'm happy with it. Yeah, I guess.
I no longer think that there's like, based on her statements today, I do not think there's a scenario in which she goes, "Fuck it, the jury's right there. Let's just go to trial." I don't
Sure.
see a
Yeah,
scenario
that's
in
true.
which
Yeah,
that's
that's true.
happening.
And and she does seem busy. Yeah, yeah. She was really encouraging. Oh, and I'm glad she called them out too on their fucking. These guys file so many Twilight Hour motions where it's like
Oh my God.
like one day or the day of. I think like discovery
Yeah.
closing. They're like, we need to actually
No,
keep this open. And it's like, bro, what you didn't
That's
know?
exactly-
You didn't know 8 months ago that I had an ex-wife in Sweden that you could have. But why did you wait so long for all of us? And they're like, well, we were waiting for a protective order to file any discovery to do anything. What? Stupid.
Dude, that was and it's a thing where and I think we discussed a little bit about just their continuance motion for the trial itself, where it was like none of the problems they bring up exist at this point that didn't exist months ago when they could have filed.
Yeah.
Right? And courts are very aware of that and they pay attention to it. And so it's very silly whenever they bring this up. And the judge was like, I don't want to push this back, but like unfortunately we have to. And it's like, yeah, well, I mean, I guess you kind of have to, but at the same time, like, shit, judge, you could have just fucking being mean to her. But it's like, yeah, it's silly. As far as like depots go, so like it was interesting whenever we were talking about, because like if you think about it, y'all stayed because they were saying like, oh, they stayed Destiny's Depot, so like we should be allowed to do it, right?
Yeah.
And it's just they are correct, like the judge is correct legally in that. However, it is the weirdest thing in the world to stay a deposition and then wait 6 months to reschedule.
Yeah, that's
That
the
is, like-
issue for a lot of this stuff. Has been timing stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So like a
It's
lot of like
like-
how many of these motions were dismissed basically as moot because it's just been so long, and yeah, it's just yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna stay this deposition, and maybe in 7 months we'll know whether or not we're actually gonna do it. It's like okay, yeah. I'm so happy.
and-
Oh god.
And then on top of that, like a lot of plaintiffs' motions are like, actually, we aren't wrong for doing this because you shouldn't grant these motions we're asking for whenever the plaintiff hasn't been diligent, and we've totally been diligent, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like like you're saying with these Twilight motions and things like that, and then like filing shit after deadlines. Like not only like is the MSJ overdue, the continuance is filed after pretrial motions should be filed. They're just lying about shit, and it's just very silly. And I was talking to somebody who was like, this is maybe the most unprofessional attorney I've ever seen.
Yes, and also, wait, why the fuck is this Carlos litigation firm? Why are they even involved in this? Because I
That's
thought
weird.
initially, because I don't know why I assumed that Joan was from Puerto Rico or something, or I feel like I looked at that in the beginning of this case, but like
there's a-
she's not. She's registered to practice and everything in Florida. She has a Florida office. She doesn't. She doesn't have a
Well,
Prague
but
Vice.
well, 1 second.
What?
She's doing Pro Hoc Vice not to Florida. She's doing it to this district in Florida. So she's probably barred in Florida, but she's probably not part of the federal bar for that district. For federal courts, you have to be part of the federal district bar of that court.
Oh damn.
So she's probably not a part of that bar. She says Carlos people, they probably practice in federal court and they're barred to be in that
Gotcha.
district. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but you are making a good point of if you are in Florida, it actually is weirder that you are doing this poorly. Like if you're truly out of state and not familiar with this stuff, fine. But it's like, no, you practice in Florida. Like at the very least, you should understand the norms and like care about your reputation and stuff like that because this is where you work. So yeah, I don't know. It's like it's truly the most just like burning your house down to stay warm kind of situation where it's like,
Well, the Joan Schlump Peters is just a fucking family mob lawyer. I don't think she gives a fuck about her reputation. I don't know about the Carlos, his litigation firm. I don't know what their relationship is or why they agreed to.
if you're just pro hoc vice, if you're just that person for somebody, you rarely is it going to blow back on you, even if they're acting out of pocket and stupid. That being said, they are appearing for the hearings. But
because Joan won't show up for anything, which is so weird. Why wouldn't you? Yeah, and then Pixie not showing up for anything. Nobody. Yeah, I don't know, man.
She's got school and finals.
When are
at some
finals?
point.
Are
Okay.
finals now at the end of April? Is that?
You can maybe get finals like last couple days of April, but usually what happens is April you finish out that last week and then they give you like 2 weeks to study,
Mhm.
and then you'll start law school finals like around like like a week into May, and then it'll last for about a week and a half,
Yeah.
depending on. But also like if you need to reschedule a final, that's like the easiest thing in the world in law school. That's like, and that judge knows. Everybody knows that. It's
Mhm.
bullshit to try and act like you can't. If anything, she's gonna get more time to study. So, but yeah, no, it's. Whew, well, I mean, I just want to say real quick, other than the sanctions not being ruled on, I literally predicted all of this. Chat 100% vindicated. That's why I'm fucking the DGG lawyer. All right,
Wow.
that's me. All right,
Down
I
to the
called all this
date
shit.
for everything.
Yeah, that's
Technically,
right.
they did rule. She denied them without prejudice. So also on the
Yeah.
notice.
Yeah, but
I love
no,
when they just like fucking file a Rule 11 against just because we filed one too. I just feel like
no,
it's goofy. I don't know.
I brought that up to somebody
You're
else.
gonna sanction me? Well, I'm gonna sanction you back for the same thing or whatever. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I brought that up to somebody else, and they like another lawyer, and they just like looked at me like, "Wait, what did they sanction them for?" I was like, "Oh, for filing the
sanctioning them?
sanctions." Yeah, and then they were like, "Well, did they reply to the sanctions?" I said no, and they're like,
They don't need to, bro. It's
What the
cross
fuck's
11s, bro. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Of course.
"We
Of
have
course you're gonna
we
fire
have
back.
dueling 11s."
Yeah, why not?
So yeah,
Jesus.
I don't know. Then let me see. So here's the hard part.
You could argue
actually.
though, yeah, you could argue that strategically maybe it's working to shit up the docket because like
Yeah.
if that 11 had been sitting there on its own, maybe she looks at it a little bit more seriously, but now it's like cross 11s and all this other shit. She's like, guys, just Jesus fuck, just figure it out.
Oh
Yeah.
no, this is 100% a tactic.
Sure.
Like you totally do that shit. Oh, who's this fucker? Can you move him out of the room?
What's up, Zip Zip?
Whoa, what's up?
Oh, he's trolling us.
Why do you want to move me?
Oh, cool.
Why is he trolling us right now?
He's copying me.
Oh my god.
He saw me do it, and he had to do it, of course.
He's trolling us. It's good.
What's wrong with it? Am I quiet?
You have no volume right
Yeah.
now.
Thanks for whispering into your mic.
My question is why haven't they dismissed this case and refunded you your court costs? Because there's a whole process you got to go through. That's why.
Refunding court costs. Yeah, that's a very funny thing to say, Chatter.
Well,
Um,
and Andrew told me that early on because I'd always heard that like, oh, you get lawyer fees, sue for lawyer fees. That was one of the very first things he told me. He was like, if you really want to go all the way with this, he said, no, everybody pays their court costs in America. You never
Yeah.
get lawyer fees back. Yeah, there has to be like
The-
some exceptional shit on that.
It's especially in federal court. In federal court, it is like fuck off. We don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. God damn it! You interrupted me. The one thing I would say about the MSJ is like, I appreciate that the judge said 10 days for depots, 10 days for a response.
Mhm.
The
Wait,
way
do we get
that
to refile our MSJ?
No, it was 10 days to do the depositions, then 10 days
Oh, cool.
for
Now
you
he's-
guys
now
to like
he's
amend
allowed.
the MSJ if you wanted, and
Yeah.
then 5 days after that.
Yeah,
for
you're
them to...
much louder now. You need to be like 20% quieter.
Oh my god, bro.
He's gone this long and he can't.
Is this better? Is this better?
Yeah, there you
This
go.
is better.
Yeah, okay.
Well, so it was 10 days for the depots, 10 days for Pixie to respond. To respond, right?
Was
I think
it?
it was 5
It's-
days for them to respond after the 10 days where they can do their redo their MSJ if they want.
Okay.
For us
But
too,
then-
because they didn't even file an MSJ, did they?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't file it. So but then there's probably going to be a reply and a server reply that might delay shit because you all love to just,
We love
Push
to
it in the
talk and
docket
talk and
constantly.
talk.
yeah, fucking legal fees constantly. But no, yeah, that's going to be like, I'm wondering if they already have the MSJ order written.
What do you
And
mean?
the-
Westlaw AI has always got an MSJ ready to go, bro.
No. I mean, it's like I wonder if the judge already has already basically has like an outline or something written, and it's just like, let's see if anything comes up, and if I need to change anything, and then
Oh.
if not, I'll just drop it in May.
Hmm.
Because like, I don't know, looking back over your MSJ, it's like, it's pretty painful to try and see how they're going to even address any of it. But
Yeah.
you know, knowing you, I've seen you in stressful situations and stuff like that. You break pretty easily. So
Oh yeah. Wait, what am I gonna break? Oh, on the
yeah,
deposition, where I'm
yeah,
just
they're
gonna
gonna
suddenly just
do.
start saying, "I actually,
Joan's gonna
I
come
am
after
so low."
you.
Ah!
Yeah. I actually checked her. I
And
actually did
feel
ask for her
good.
ID. I do have her ID.
True.
I have a copy of it.
The only reason I was talking to Annie was because I thought every single person was underage. That's the only thing I cared about.
You
Yeah,
actually thought
I mean-
Pixie was underage
True.
herself.
That's the only reason I was. Yeah, exactly. Video games.
Yeah.
Stop.
We saw the name of the Google Drive. It said all of my pedophile videos.
True.
So, I'm
true.
sorry. Yeah. So, all right. I'll let Zip take over. I have to get back to my real job.
Okay. Have
But
fun.
hey, congrats again.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
Also, you look really cute in your suspenders.
Thanks, buddy. Be careful.
Oh, he looked cute in this dude too. You should have seen him.
I'm so jealous. Bye.
Bye.
Guy.
Okay.
Unless
hey,
he
what's
wanted me
up?
to take over. I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't know what
take
else I was
over
to
exactly. I
discuss.
think you guys went over it a bit.
Yeah. Was there anybody else there besides you two, you and the other guy? Like
I
in
think it
the
was just us.
audience?
In the gallery there was a couple
Yeah.
people, but they seemed like they just worked there, like for
Gotcha,
the judge
gotcha.
or whatever. So
Okay.
I don't think there was anybody else that was stalking or anything.
Cool. Well,
Okay, I'll head out. Just wanted to let people know. Yeah, I was there again.
Good
Because
job.
I'm that guy. Okay. All right.
well, thanks a lot. Be careful.
Bye.
Bye. Well, what the fuck is this? Hello? Do we not believe in flu vaccines anymore? What?
Under the disastrous Biden administration,
Oh, we're still talking about him. Okay.
this Pentagon waged an unrelenting
Did the judge say something about you not having received any discovery? Isn't that pretty egregious? So I don't think there are many issues we can raise about that behavior there. Maybe it'll come up in the MSJ because we're not like countersuing. So it's not like there are claims that I'm making that are that I'm not able to litigate effectively because I'm not getting the discovery that I'm owed. And it's not like they've been able to substantiate anything they're saying. So it's not like getting more discovery would help me necessarily, maybe. But yeah, it's just harder for me to make the argument since I don't have a countersuit open. But yeah.
administration. This Pentagon waged an unrelenting war on our warriors on many fronts, including
The
when it came
vaccine
to
front?
denying them simple medical autonomy and the freedom to express their religious convictions. In other words, our men and women in uniform were forced to choose between their conscience and their country, even when those decisions posed no threat to our military readiness. You know what I'm talking about, what happened, COVID-19 and the vaccine.
2020, 2021, by the way, still obsessed over it.
No more. That era of betrayal is over.
Betrayal.
Under President Trump, the War Department continues to take decisive action to once again restore freedom and strength to our joint force. We're seizing this moment to discard any absurd, overreaching mandates that only weaken our warfighting capabilities. In this case, this includes the universal flu vaccine and the mandate behind it. The notion that a flu vaccine must be mandatory for every service member everywhere in every circumstance at all
Does Jane Doe think she can win at trial? No, she absolutely knows at this point that this is a hopeless fuck case. So.
must be mandatory for every service member everywhere in every circumstance at all times is just overly broad and not rational. Our new policy is
Well, wait, hold on.
vaccine must be mandatory for every service member everywhere in every circumstance at all times is just overly broad and not rational.
I mean, I think I probably would agree with that. Was that the policy before? That every single person in every single base, every part of the military, all of them had to constantly be like flu vaccinated? Was that the case?
Our new policy is simple. If you, an American warrior entrusted to defend this nation, believe that the flu vaccine is in your best interest, then you are free to take it. You should. But we will not force you because your body, your faith, and your convictions are not negotiable. Your health.
Why do we keep bringing up faith? What religion is not allowing you to get vaccinated? Like, what? Like what? Isn't it like Jehovah's Witnesses might not get blood transfusions? I don't know if they're allowed vaccines or not, but I don't know. Jesus. Do you think there's a good chance you'll be able to have her pay compensation for your lawyer fees since the lawsuit is so blatantly frivolous? I have no idea about any of that, guys. That would be, I would have to sue her again at the end of this, which I mean, I'll consider, but it's a matter of like, do I want to, one, I still would like to sue the actual crazy, horrible fucking person, like the Solo guy. I would still like to sue him. And then suing her would mean a whole other however many long year, 2 years over, bullshit. I'm not sure.
It's common sense. It's the kind of common sense approach we're undertaking in this department. Rest assured that under President Trump, the War Department will always honor our brave warriors and do everything we can to restore the American people's trust in their military for generations to come. And that's why I'm proud to sign this new policy.
Oh my God. I love how these cringe fucking losers have to sign all of it like on fucking camera because they're so like, oh, it's not the auto pin, guys. There's no rule against vaccines for Jehovah's Witnesses. Oh, okay. Did you see that Andrew Wilson did a second prompt? Oh, did he finally respond? Exact prompt then. How about, are the values and morals Destiny advocates for superior than the values and morals Andrew Wilson advocates for? What? How would you... I'm good. This is retarded. Superior... Yeah, how do you... Like, the problem is he's religious, isn't he? So how am I ever going to debate my set of values against a person who's religious? This would come down to, like, is God real or not or whatever, no? I'm good. I'm good on that one, Chief.
Parody.
What's going on with Alex?
You can't take something over and then act like you're somebody, even if you say it's a parody. You can do a parody of somebody, but none of you took something from them.
Right.
We've already checked with lawyers, so they're in deep shit. I'm already suing the Democrat Party law firms. Already got civil rights lawsuits. So you think, look, just because you're wearing my shirt, don't mean you're me. So let's be 100% clear about that. And so you guys just keep laughing, just like you did a year and a half ago, or it was November 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So is that about a year and a half?
Yeah, this is a story from December 10th. Sale of Alex Jones Infowars to The Onion rejected, and I'll get into this. And
So but yeah, they need to be us to confuse people. By the way, it's a total failure. He goes, oh, we're the 5th biggest newspapers. That's a lie. Newspapers are all dead. Okay.
I looked it up. The Onion gets less than half of the traffic that Infowars gets.
I remember they said they were going to be Charlie Kirk. Remember when he died? They said we're going to misrepresent fake quotes of him. This is what the left do. They try to silence you, then they misrepresent who you are. They're body snatchers. They're skinwalkers. They literally take your skin. This is going to backfire big time, folks.
Bigly. Apparently the Onion finally got the rights to take over InfoWars. Uh-oh, what's this?
I bet, nah. Directly involved. Okay, bet. I bet. Nah, I'm saving this shit. Let me save this shit. I might download videos. Actually, let me screenshot this shit, bro. Screenshot both this shit.
What? What is this account? Jason the Ween and Pokemon are directly involved with David's murder case as they shot a music video with him acting out a murder.
What's one? Let's go one more, bro. Hope Rainbed's paying you enough, buddy. Hope Rainbed's paying you enough, buddy. I know exactly how much they're paying you too, buddy. Hey, they offered Ween updates, bro.
Do you remember this?
No, you're doing it.
I look forward to you dodging
You're
the
doing
question
it.
again.
You're
Go
doing
ahead.
it. You're doing it. You're doing it.
No, you.
So, you.
No, you.
You.
Okay. Fuck, I'm starting to see I'm starting to see the path of how this country could get even worse. And it involves Tucker Carlson running for president. Oh God.
And everyone else who supported him, you wrote speeches for him, I campaigned for him. I mean, we're implicated in this for sure.
Yes.
It's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out. It's like, in very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now.
Yes.
So I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences. We'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be. And I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people. It was not intentional. That's all I'll say. But anyway, the question does present itself immediately. Like, what is this? Was this always the plan? You don't want to be a conspiracy nut, but like clearly there were signs of low character. We knew that.
Yes.
But it didn't. There are tons of people of low character who like outperform their character. It doesn't have to be
sort of the norm, actually, these days. I would say
I've outperformed my character a lot. I don't have especially high character, right? But you try to you try your best. But what was this? Was this always the plan?
Looking back after the last year and a half, it seems like it kind of was, and it's easy. Well, you could get really deep about it and say, what was Butler? Like, how was it that and Ryan Ruth? I mean, he was subject to 2 legitimate assassination attempts. Have we ever gotten to the bottom? I know you've talked a lot about this, but have we ever gotten to the bottom of that?
I haven't talked a lot about it. I don't know the answer, but I know that those investigations have been stymied. Fact.
Yeah, stymied from the very top, from people who actually would have the power to get to the bottom of it.
And the motive.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Very much. So,
what things in particular what is he talking about right now? Hassan will 100% carry water for Tucker if he runs and stand watch the fuck out of him for his audience. Probably, maybe. I would give that a probably, maybe. They wouldn't be opposed to it. You can see that they, you've got all the Plattner defense that they run because he's on their team. Now you've got them, funnily enough, championing billionaires, right? Where they all seem to be pretty warm towards Steyer in California, which is crazy because these people were like the most like eat the billionaire class people I've ever seen in my life, but now apparently they're chill with it. Conservatives are on the Trump assassination was staged conspiracy now. Oh, okay. Well,
the enormous amount of money he got from Miriam Adelson now seems suspect to a lot of people at the time.
Remember this meme I brought up in the debate with it wasn't Schroer. Doyle. This conspiracy meme.
Out from Miriam Adelson now seems suspect to a lot of people at the time. But, there's a lot of money in politics. To run for president requires an enormous, Kathleen Camel-Toe went through $2 billion in 4 months. So, sure, there's an argument to be made that you get money from those who will give it to you. It's just the nature of that game. But it's still reprehensible and it's still a big question mark. Why would someone who has obvious and demonstrated allegiance to a foreign power give Donald Trump $250 million while he's running for president? I mean, how is that defensible? It's really not. If Russia had given a PAC for Trump, if the mayor of Moscow had somehow assembled an enormous amount of money and put it in a 501c3 for Trump's benefit.
Wow, LaFrosty, thank you for the tier 5 subber, buddy. I appreciate it.
But would that have been acceptable? Of course it wouldn't have been. So what does it's so basic, comes back to the money. Like, what did they get in return for that amount of investment? And it's clear.
I get it. No, of course, I agree with every word that you're saying. I just think, given his behavior and his demonstrated disloyalty and viciousness to previous supporters.
Yes.
Why wouldn't he display the same lack of loyalty to Miriam Adelson? That's kind of the question. The only people he's been loyal to are the neocons and his donors.
The U.S. is prepared to invade Iran per President of the United States as of 35 minutes ago. Is that true?
Think I was playing video games or streaming or something. And before I started up to go to bed, I checked my email, and I saw in my email that my credit card had been declined for some subscription. And I said, well, that's weird. I don't think I'm over my limit on my credit card. As far as I know, it's a good credit card. And so I go to my online banking app and I see that on my checking account, it was $0. And understand, I had something like $500,000 in that checking account just the other day. And so at first I thought this is a glitch, you know? So I refresh the app and nothing changes. I close the app, I reopen it, nothing happened. And upon further investigation, I saw there was a legal order placed on my account. I went through my transaction history and I saw a legal order and subtracted my entire bank balance. Froze both my credit.
Isn't this old? Like when this happened? Like a few years ago? I don't know. Don't care. Hassan Slop.
Though, isn't it?
Oh, Kayakam.
Really? That's like your bedroom, though, isn't it? You're used to that. You're used to that, bro.
This is like, pushing back on XQC in front of an audience like this, and also getting them to cheer you on is pretty impressive, especially as a woman. Holy fuck.
Is he trying to get re-involved in streamer slop drama to fight XQC? Because he's so mad at it. What the fuck? Okay. Yeah, General DRK. Hassan is so mad that he lost all of his Twitch goons LeMayo. Holy cringe.
Them to cheer you on is pretty impressive, especially as a woman. Holy fuck. XQC invited it in when he brought up Bonnie's name. Fuck everyone involved in that current drama cycle. I don't even know what the fuck happened in the drama cycle. All I know is this. Okay? Back in the day, content creators would not personally egg on some of the most like parasocial nonsense. And content creators who did egg that shit on and would purposely wedge themselves into a story in an effort to like get some of the most schizophrenic parasocial stalkers involved would usually be like blacklisted.
What? I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. One of the hugest pieces of Twitch drama, probably 5, 6, 7 years ago, especially around the COVID eras when it blew up, was all of the weird like relationship shipping that happened in like the offline TV and like the Asian League streamer and all of that stuff. Community. Why are we a little dubbing? What did I say? Oh, 6, 7, good one. Yeah, but that was like a huge thing. There were multiple subreddits made over it. Like every time somebody streamed a game with somebody else, there was like the shipping culture. Ninja, I remember, got in a whole bunch of trouble because I think Ninja tweeted out that I would never ever play a game on stream. I would never do a queue with a woman, I think, like, or play a game with a woman because people would be weird about it or something, and people were like, oh, that's sexist or whatever. Like, this happened with so many, with all the guy streamers. Anytime Soda pop it, remember, I don't know if I would say Soda's current relationship was like shipping related, but like I know that Maya and Mizkif kind of got together because he watched a clip of hers and people like all like forced like the shipping memes super hard. I don't know. This has like always been a part of Twitch stuff, but I think Hassan is just desperately trying to get involved in this or something. I don't know. It seems cringe.
Schizophrenic parasocial stalkers involved would usually be like blacklisted. The environment changed entirely. Okay? The content creator environment changed entirely. There are a lot of content creators like Asmongold who literally personally lean into this shit and will actively turn stories into massive ordeals.
Asmongold? I must be missing something. He can't be this out of pocket. There must be some drama or some shit that I'm just missing. Or I guess. I feel like Asmongold was never much part of it. A lot of people didn't even know he was dating the is it Pink Sparkles at the time? Pretty sure that XQC Cine shit is just lighthearted roasting. I don't know about that. I feel like they were roasting each other, but then it feels like Cine got actually mad and then started to get pretty... There was some recent drama you missed? What did I miss recently?
Okay, even if it's just like something that a bunch of like insane people made up, they'll always lean into it. XQC does it too. Obviously, back in the day, it was like Sex Pestiny that did it. He still does it.
I don't even know what he's talking about. This is all like the most vague. I have no clue what he's even. Also, I like how nice proving your point or something, but okay. What?
And it sucks because all of these people will then turn around and fucking complain about.
By the way, not that it matters to literally anybody, but when Lav and Trainwrecks and Zerka all wanted to lean in on the Hassan pedophile thing over the Paris Jackson stuff, like I'm literally on stream when these guys are jumping on stream, like to me, like, oh shit, dude, we got some super spicy stuff. I'm like, bro, this is bullshit. You shouldn't push this. It's not true. Like something that, I mean, we've seen now, obviously, Hassan would never, ever grant anything remotely the same to me. Like, he loves playing into all of this drama shit. You saw he platformed Bad Banana, who's the definition of, like, drama farmer if it's against people that he doesn't like. Hassan obviously loves this shit.
Streamer culture and how people are no longer as friendly with one another as there used to be some kind of a sense of community, right?
He's so fucking cringe. Like Hassan, people like Hassan are the ones that destroyed this, though, right? Like Hassan had me blacklisted from every fucking event that he attended. Like this and like enforcing friend group shit, and if you're hanging out with this person, you can't hang out with that person, and like that weirdo type shit. It would be people like Hassan who are responsible for that, I would say, more than anybody else. I don't know. Did X? I feel like X is one of the few people who will go off and do his own thing. Like X could collaborate way more if he actually wanted to.
Hassan acting like he doesn't do that. See,
Good
this
job.
is what
True,
I mean.
True.
Buddy.
True.
This is the first time I have talked about anything that has been going on in the streaming space in like the last 5 months. Okay? And you're in here.
Yeah, because now nobody is including you in anything anymore because you're too much of a liability. But
eating that dick. Yum, 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 yum. And it's always no you. You can tell when someone is a brain broken fucking loser because they don't have any genuine retort. Okay? They don't have any genuine retort whatsoever. And immediately go, no you. I got government ops, buddy. I have to deal with like, some.
It's so funny. Yeah, true. Actually, Brando, whatever. This is the meta for this clip, and I'm guessing this whole segment is the funny thing is Hassan is doing exactly what he's accusing other people of, and that he's trying to drive this hardcore wedge between, I guess, Cinna and XQC and like support Cinna and her, what he wants to be some huge uprising against XQC. Wow, it's so brave of her as a woman, so brave to stand up against the evil tyrant XQC. Like Hassan's only doing this to try to shit stir to get people isolated from XQC because Hassan's mad that he doesn't have as much control over the Twitch communities anymore.
I have to deal with like, some worse shit.
What do you have to deal with?
Other dumb fuck content.
You're such a fucking. He doesn't even have a personal life to go in on because his whole life is obsessively oriented around networking and clout. Like he doesn't even have any. Like what do you go over? The things that you say on stream or what people roast you for? Wow, bro.
Creator said about me.
Wow.
I purposely keep away from that stuff because I feel like it's
beneath me.
Not in my interest. I don't really care about it. I did see this clip though, and I appreciate Cinna for standing on business.
He's so pathetic. Oh my god. Like so transparently pathetic too. Jeez.
And it's cool that like all these other guys were actually on Cinna's side.
King. Trump tried to use nuclear codes, but was stopped by a military chief. U.S. President Donald Trump was denied access to his nation's nuclear codes by a high-ranking U.S. military official, according to explosive reports. Retired CIA analyst Larry Johnson revealed on the popular YouTube program Judging Freedom that during an emergency meeting on Saturday, Trump attempted to access the nuclear codes. This is on the Mirror. Has anybody else reported that?
Graphic was from this video.
All right. Have you?
Oh, it's Devin Nash. Haven't seen Devin Nash in a minute. Is he still homies with Sex Pestiny?
Isn't he the guy who? So I don't do streamer drum or anything like that. Isn't he the guy? Oh my god, bro. He has to know this before he watches the video so that he can know whether or not he supports the video or not. He has to know whose team he's on. Like, it's so cringe.
Of course. Probably.
Like, why is he scrolling his chat to find out if me and Devin are still friends or not? What? Does that matter to this video? Am I his, like, source? It's because he doesn't want to support or approve of anybody that's in my, that's near me because he thinks it somehow, like, empowers me. This is what I mean when I say, like, every single thing about these guys is just, like, it's the same, like, thing as, like, what Trump and all the MAGA people and everybody do. Like, it's all, like, so team sports oriented. It's crazy.
He used to be back in the day. I don't know if he still is. He probably, maybe he isn't. Graphic was
okay. King. Last question is, what prompt could Wilson have given you that you'd be willing or interested in debating regarding morality? I don't like the claim that people bring up that, like, if you're a moral, if you don't believe, like, in moral fact or something, then that necessarily means your entire moral system is arbitrary and subjective. I just think that's a brain dead claim to make about somebody. And he does it. I've seen him do it before, and he did it to me in that clip. But whatever. I think Rosenberg's piece is worth a read and appreciate the thoughtful criticism. I read him a longer response because arguing on here is dumb, but to summarize, 1, good corrective to the Einstein story that I fully admit to not knowing in advance, though I'm not sure the full details change Hassan's broader critique of Zionism in a meaningful way. Okay. And then 2, if I had another hour with Hassan, I absolutely would have focused on his China-Russia views, but thought it was more valuable in this particular discussion to dig in on the controversy at hand and then to do a quicker drive-by on all his views and statements. But again, I genuinely appreciate your take. Oh, remember, right? Where's the chart for the type of conversations, right? He's even saying it here. This had to be a PR-friendly thing. I didn't want to critically challenge him on anything. This is cringe. How long wasn't this like an hour conversation? Cringe.
Hey guys, this is Andrew Egger with The Bulwark. I hate to be the one to tell you this, but 2028 is already right around the corner. We are going to have presidential candidates coming out of our ears much sooner than any of us are prepared for. I guess in a sense it's fine. It's starting to look like, at least as compared to this time last year, the odds of a Trump 3 coming down the pipe at us are a little bit diminished. The man is very unpopular. He's very old and tired. It's not clear he even really wants to, but never say never. And there are a lot of other Republicans that we're going to need to be familiarizing ourselves with. So JVL, our fearless leader, he wrote in his triad today, basically an early handicapping of the 2028 GOP field, and we're going to talk about it a little bit. JVL, want to talk us on a little bit? First of all, maybe let's just put it this way: who do you like? Who's in there that's fun and exciting and ready to set aside all of the likelihood things? But is there anybody in there that would set your little Reformicon heart up?
So wait, what's the basis for objective moral judgments without moral fact? What would you appeal to that you can claim isn't ultimately arbitrary? I mean, you could invent theoretically any moral system you want based on any number of things that you want. That's not, unless you're going to say something is arbitrary because of like some foundational axiom that you can't prove or whatever. But then, I mean, in that case, we're in ultimate skeptic territory, and then everything is ultimately arbitrary. Like, I mean, like this is one of the few times in philosophy where I will appeal to some degree of common sense. Like to say that, like, it is self-evident that a person cannot believe in moral fact, but still believe there's some guiding moral principle to how they act in their life. Like to pretend otherwise is absurd. There's not a single human being you can point to that would say that like, oh yeah, I don't believe in objective moral fact, therefore everything is okay. Like it's such an unserious statement. You can make other claims that a person might not necessarily have a good philosophical justification or something for the statements or claims they make or something. You could go on that road, but to say that like, well, if they don't believe in objective moral fact, then every single thing is arbitrary and trivial, this is super stupid.
Pitter pat going into 2020. Is there anybody in there that would
I saw it, Camel.
That your little Reformicon heart pitter pat going into 2028?
No, and I just want to say, so for anybody who thinks that I was doing this just to stir things up, or because I didn't have anything else to say, not true. We are either back on for our ceasefire or back off from our ceasefire. Who can say? Nobody knows. That's changing by the minute. Over the weekend, my best friend Sarah Longwell sent me a notice from one of the polling aggregators saying that this surprise candidate had in the polling averages moved into a clear third place. And I saw this and my eyes popped open because this was a candidate who I have been talking about as the logical heir to MAGA for 2, 3, 4 years. And people had always laughed at me. And so I just wanted to take this opportunity to lay down a marker for when it happens.
Oh, no.
Because I want people to be able to look back and be like, wow, I can't believe that guy was so early on this.
Now's the moment if any of you guys are
Nikki
big
Haley
into games and things. Yes, exactly. It's Nikki Haley. Everybody pause the video, do 5 seconds of thinking right now. Predict who JVL is going to proclaim as his dark horse for 2028, because we're about to talk about him right now. And JVL, who is it? I mean, we all know the big names, and I guess it's not really a surprise per se, but talk us through this. Talk us through this fella who has sort of emerged as an actual no-foolin' possibility for 2028 here.
Donald J. Trump Jr.
No
DJ
shot,
TJ.
bro. I don't believe it.
I know what you're thinking.
No.
He makes his father look qualified and serious. Kind of, I guess. And it sounds preposterous until you start to think about it for a couple minutes. And the first thing is that in the polls since January, whenever he is included on the ballot, he finishes second or third, which is crazy.
But how many times has that happened where he's finishing like that? Just because Trumples are so stupid, they just see him and they mistake him for Donald Trump or something. Maybe.
Easy. And he is routinely beating Marco Rubio when he's included on the ballot. He's routinely in the mid to high teens. And some of that is artifact of just name ID. But on the other hand, he's not out there. Like JD Vance and Marco Rubio are in the news every day. They're real politicians. People talk about them running for president. DJ TJ is just this mascot for a lifestyle brand. And he is off doing World Liberty Financial or whatever crazy, amazingly smart genius business deals are that he is doing because he is such a great businessman. And he's showing up. And this tells you, I think, that people are interested in it, right? This isn't preposterous like saying Eric Trump or Ivanka Trump, right? I mean, there would actually be no viability there, but there is a viability for DJ TJ. And my thesis is that the more you think about it, the more it makes sense for him to want to run, even though so far he's mostly demurred. I was able to find one clip where he was like, well, maybe someday I'd think about the White House. But he's mostly not talked about it. And if you think about it, it makes sense as to why he would want to run. And also it makes sense why, if he would decide to run, I think he's the nominee. Like really the only thing which prevents him from winning the nomination is him deciding not to seek it. And so I just, having run the traps on this, and we can talk about it if you like, my thesis is that if Donald J. Trump Jr. chooses to run for president, he will be the Republican nominee. Jeez. And I am so happy to just put that out into the universe, because they say you should never put horrible ideas out into the universe. I laugh at that.
The thing that you said there that is most striking to me is the sort of like empty vessel MAGA lifestyle brand thing, right? Because I mean, this has been like an ongoing thing all through the Trump years. Is people have always wanted, and various factions on the right have always wanted to kind of imbue Trumpism with like ideological content that just isn't there, right? And you could see that for some of these other guys who are seen as the top runners for 2028. JD Vance might come along and paint himself as the heir apparent to MAGA in a way that's more isolationist and more sort of like wonky, in these various sort of like really online right-wing ways about, Stephen Miller immigration policy and industrial policy to sort of like revolutionize the Rust Belt and all these sorts of things. Or you might have Marco Rubio come along and be like, no, MAGA is actually just sort of like a sort of retooled version of the conservatism that came before it. That's, madder at the media and more muscular, throws more elbows around, is less afraid of wielding state power, but it's basically the same thing. And alternatively to any of those things, because these have all been kind of wish casting projects, right? Like it's never actually been true that the beating heart of MAGA is any of these things. The beating heart of MAGA has been the person of Donald Trump and this sort of loose lattice of grievances against different groups, elites in general, the media, coastal people, public health, you can kind of go down the list, but like anybody that they kind of perceive to be sort of looking down on them is sort of the catch-all thing. And Donald Trump Jr. is a great inheritor for that because he really does not actually have any of these pre-existing commitments. His commitments are to enriching the Trump family and talking up his father, the president, and that's kind of all you need. I guess I'm curious. Can we just talk a little bit, because you go through in the triad today, sort of how Donald Trump Jr. getting into the race would sort of complicate the paths of these other guys who are seen as the top contenders. So can you just kind of talk through your thinking of like what a Vance run and what a Rubio run look like if they're trying to get out from under Don the Son?
Is there any way, good reason why Pod Save and Trigonometry have had Hassan on once or more and never had you on? What the fuck does that have in common with liberals and conservatives? I've been on Trigonometry before, actually. It was a long time ago. PodSave had Hassan on because it was going to be a gentle, soft interview. And I think for Trigonometry, they probably thought the same, I guess. Maybe because Hassan was making the rounds and the sloppulous people are all like largely aligned on big things. Like, I don't think there was that much pushback that Hassan gave those Trigonometry guys. I would have to rewatch it. But like the one big thing that Hassan tried to fight on had to do with immigration stuff, but he didn't know anything about the UK, so... Justin, you've been on twice, once debating Gorka. Oh, yeah, that was a Trigonometry episode, technically, yeah.
So I don't think they can run. I think if Don Jr. is going to run, it will be clear reasonably early that he's going to. And here's the other thing. You have to understand, Donald Trump Sr., the current president of the United States, keeps publicly toying with the idea of running for a third term, which prohibits anybody who works in his administration from beginning the processes of running for president until he explicitly says, I won't do this thing that's against the Constitution. So the field is effectively frozen in place until he's ready to unfreeze it. And if he decides to wait and not unfreeze it until he lays hands and anoints his only beloved, not his only, but his beloved son, you wind up having the legs cut out from anybody in the administration, especially JD Vance and Marco Rubio, because I don't think they can actually run. How can you be the sitting vice president, the guy who is like, Donald Trump is our superhero, he's my everything, I trust him, I'm his serving vice president. Also, how dare he do this terrible thing? His son is a bum. Choose me instead. I don't think it's possible. And same thing for Marco Rubio. So if that happens, I think the field is cleared of anybody who is currently in the administration and really is cleared of anybody who wants to stay within MAGA and is not afraid of being cast into the outer darkness. That would leave, there are still people on the outside. I think Tucker Carlson is the obvious choice there. Although by all reports, he and Don Jr. are close, and maybe Tucker thinks that he could work with Don Jr. Maybe he thinks he doesn't want to challenge him. But if he were to, right? If you had a split where Tucker ran as like more populist, in a weird way, again, all of Don Jr.'s empty vessel stuff winds up helping him. Because I promise you, the Wall Street Journal editorial page in a contest where they had to choose between Donald Trump Jr. and Tucker Carlson would choose Jr., right? Because they would look at him and be like, oh, well, we can work with that. He's transactional. He doesn't believe any of the crazy stuff. He does all the lib triggering. And the last thing he does is he punts the big Götterdämmerung showdown between the various MAGA factions. Right now, there are some factions within MAGA, and they do care about what comes after Trump. And none of them really think they have the goods to take control of the movement or control the party. If you just stick with the dynastic guy and you say, oh, well, we'll just stay in the family, that means that you're not settling any of those ideological disputes now, and it gives everybody more time to jockey. So I just think, again, it makes all the sense in the world. And I have trouble thinking of somebody who could run on the Republican side, who could beat Don Jr. if he decided to swing for the fences here. I mean, do you agree? How would you see it working if somebody were try to take him down.
Bulwark Takes is sponsored by Shopify. Here's the thing about shopping on the internet. You might be doing it when you're tired, right before you head to bed.
True.
If your credit card isn't lying around, it's very easy to just switch tabs and never follow through on the purchase you intended. That is no good if you're a business trying to convert customers in your online store. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses all around the world. 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names like Allbirds or Death Wish Coffee to brands just getting started.
Death Wish Coffee.
Accelerate your efficiency, whether you're uploading new products or trying to improve existing ones. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography. Get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. Best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. What if people haven't heard about my brand? Shopify helps you find your customers with easy-to-run email and social media campaigns. See fewer carts go abandoned and more sales go with Shopify and their Shop Pay button. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/bulwarktakes. Go to shopify.com/bulwarktakes. That's shopify.com/bulwarktakes. Yeah, I mean, I sort of struggle with this because I think there are two pressures that kind of move different directions. And the one pressure is that the Republican Party has spent, the last decade building itself into the kind of machine that almost cannot but proceed along exactly the lines that you're laying out here, where like when Trump says something, it basically doesn't matter. Nothing else basically matters. You can try to sort of sail crosswise across the winds of Trump Sr.'s utterances and try to kind of finagle in different ways the way that he pronounces things into being to your advantage and use those in sort of to get little advantages against your various oblique positional opponents on different things. But if he sets himself straight against you, I mean, Ron DeSantis had this problem in 2024, right? If he sets himself straight against you, you're just stuck. You just can't do it. There's nowhere to go. On the other side of it, the cross pressure to this is that despite all of that still holding true, basically, within the Republican Party of today, the whole...
Apparently, Miller disagrees with JVL's Donald Trump Jr. take, and I'll talk about it on today's show if you care to watch. Okay.
Movement is much smaller and just shakier. And
the thing is, it's hard to predict. Trump does have this ability to speak things into existence. We've talked about this, but I think the big issue is, I think we're going to see a fundamentally different type of MAGA, or at least insofar as the I guess the way that it functions in the White House. We're going to see a fundamentally different type of MAGA after midterms. I think things are going to look a lot different. And if they start to lose a lot of influence and power, like if it becomes a shit show for the past 2 years or the last 2 years of this administration, I don't know if the Trump name carries as much strength, going into the 2020 election season. I'm not sure.
Worse off than it was even a year ago. He's just losing a lot of supporters, right?
Not within the Republican Party, though.
No, sure. But let me finish laying this out because I think you're totally right. Like within the core of the core,
they're Southern's video on stream. No, I haven't watched it yet.
All still with him, ride or die till Judgment Day. And if that does hold together, 100%, it is enough to carry a Republican primary. And yet, I can't help but wonder, whether this whole weird trap that they're all in, where nobody can win MAGA except a Trump, but the Trumps are looking really shaky right now. And again, we're still years away. Who knows what other nonsense will have been forced to endure, what other kind of factional cracks will appear. So part of me wonders if it's none of these guys, if it's neither JD nor Marco nor Junior nor Tucker, and we're just sailing toward the biggest sort of party collapse and sort of vacuum of power for any random schmo to kind of catch. And I mean, do you actually think that MAGA in its current configuration is durable enough to nominate the next Republican presidential contender? I guess is my question.
Yes, I think absolutely it is. If you are going to take over the party from MAGA, it isn't that Donald Trump Jr. is unbeatable. It's that you can't beat him in an election. So what you have to do is convince him not to run. And so that will be the task of somebody like JD, right? JD will win or lose the fight for the nomination just based on who decides to run. What he has to do is keep people out of the field. He has to keep Tucker from running, convince Tucker not to worry, that I'll do everything you want to do. He's got to convince Don Jr., don't worry, I'll take care of everything. You don't want the hassle. You can keep making money, et cetera, et cetera. And that's how you do that. If Jr. decides not to run, I think somebody like JD could hold the party together for an election. I don't know, long term. I think it becomes harder. I think somebody like Tucker could hold the party together, at least in the short term, for one election. But so what I started asking myself then was, okay, so if the way to get past Don Jr. is to convince him not to run, well, how would you do that? From his perspective, why would Don Jr. want to run? And what I came up with is actually, by the logic of how the Trump family operates, it makes all the sense.
Just for the attention. Yeah, why not?
Of course he would want to run. And the answer is our friends at the Center for American Progress have what they call the Trump Tracker, where they keep track of all of the ways in which the Trump family has enriched themselves. And they believe that the Trump net worth was at about $2.9 billion. I want to say $2.9 billion when he took office this last time, and now it's at $6.2 billion, that he has been just sort of given in hard tangible assets, about $2 billion worth of like gifts and stuff. And this is not paper value. This is like stuff that he's already realized the gains of. And why has he gotten that? Why has the Trump family gotten that?
I wish that people understood like the scale of things more. Like the amount of money that the Trump family has made in this presidency has been more than like all the past Congress people's stock trades, maybe all of their net worths combined in the history of the entire United States of America. Like it's just unbelievable how much money these people have made. It's just crazy.
And the answer is because they hold power of the United States government. If they don't hold power of the United States government, a lot of that goes away. There'll be some grift. Like you can sell Trump watches to stupid people, but in order to have like Middle Eastern kingdoms thinking it's worth their while to bribe you to the tune of like hundreds of millions of dollars, they're not going to do that if you don't have either a hold on the White House or the potential to retake the White House in the future. And so if you're the Trump family and you're trying to figure out, well, how do we preserve access to that revenue stream? The answer is one of you, either the sitting president or his son, has to be the party's nominee in 2028. And in a weird way, it might be preferable if it was Junior, because if Junior runs in 2028 and loses, so long as he won the nomination, even if he loses the general election, for the next 4 years, he's a presumed front runner for 2032. And so now you're looking at like 6 more years where you're able to plausibly represent to other parties that it is worth their while to pay you.
You are uttering the most unspeakable sentences right now, JBL.
What do you mean? Is it wrong?
No, I'm not ready to sit here. It's just grim. It's just really grim to hear that. It is kind of fun to contemplate.
It just has a logic all of its own, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. But I like the idea of Don Jr. and Don Sr. basically switching roles. You know, you have Jr. going to the White House, and then it's Sr. who just gets to sort of schmooze all over, you know, Qatar and the UAE and sort of rake in the deals.
He runs the Board of Peace, and and maybe the Iranians do a lot of work on their toll booth and see if they can get some of that proceeds. Because I just assume that the end of this war comes when Iran realizes that all they have to do is say, we're proposing a $2 million toll and we split it with you, Mr. Trump. I am sorry, whatever else they want to do, if they propose that deal to Donald Trump, he's going to take it. Right?
Let me return really quickly to the structural question of the.
I'm going too far out there even for
nomination. I just don't want to even think these thoughts right now. You know, it's Monday. Save it for the middle of the week or something. But I just wanted to ask about because there's 2 other things about the nominee. I feel like you've basically convinced me that if he wants it, he has an absolute straight shot to the MAGA lane in this primary, which is, you know, until proven otherwise, the winning lane. But I did want to just kind of pick around the 2 other possible types of candidate that you could see, which is, you know, the kind that we got in 2024, which was, you know, the sort of like fossilized old Republican Party kind of kicking up Nikki Haley to be like, you know, let's see if she can do anything. And obviously she never posed a challenge, but she did, you know, when it was finally just her and Trump, you know, she was still pulling what, like 25, 30% in a bunch of primaries. So there's some energy there, right? And then the other potential faction is the cast-offs from MAGA, you know, the exiles, the people who have been cutting bait over various actual policy things, who are unlike JD unlike JD Vance in the sense that while JD looks at something like the war in Iran and is privately horrified, but, you know, has absolutely no choice but to sort of stick with it. You have people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Candace Owens and, like you said, Tucker Carlson, who potentially represent, you know, a sort of breakaway faction to the more nativist side, to the more isolationist side, to the more sort of conspiracy brand crank side. And people like this are plainly sort of gathering steam to actually make some noise in Republican primaries from here on out. You know, Nick Fuentes and guys like this. So you could see a world where you know this MAGA faction, which is locked down if he wants it by Donald Trump Jr., it has to deal with these 2 flanking pressures on both sides. I mean, do you see that as an actual problem if he gets there, or is this just going to be another situation where it's like 20%, 60%, he's the nominee?
I mean, I got to say, so, you know, we often joke that never Trumpers, the Republicans who refused to get on board with Trump, represented a vanishingly small percentage of the population, right? I think the MAGA defectors are going to wind up being smaller as a percentage than the never Trumpers. Like, I just, how many are there going to be? Is it going to be Marjorie Taylor Greene and who else? I mean, Tucker will be back on side. Joe Rogan is back on side already. The number of MAGAs who will really stay off of this, maybe it'll change. I have a hard time believing that, though. There's just too much power there. I don't know. Again, I'd have to really see that to believe that is more than like 7%, 10% tops, like absolute tops. And I think that having a guy like Trump Jr. allows everybody to believe what they want to believe, right? The Wall Street Journal can believe that, you know, he's not old and addled like his dad was. He won't do the tariff stuff. He'll understand how important it is to keep the stock market going. The crypto bros will be like, he gets us. He's one of us. The people who love lib triggering will be like, he's the greatest lib triggerer ever. Look how much all the libs and the anti-Trumpers hate this guy. And all of the nativists will be able to be like, you know what? His dad was always just saying it to keep us on board, but Junior really believes it. And I don't think there's anything in his background to disprove anybody's belief of these things. Like everybody just project what they want onto him. And
another empty vessel.
And Also, the personal cost of choosing to run against him, for anybody who thinks they want a future, all they have to do is look at what happened to Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley and Mike Pence and Chris Christie and say, do I want to become one of those guys? Because those guys are roadkill. Like, we now understand that if you run against the Trump family, you become political roadkill. Right? It was untested before 2024. We just thought it would be that way.
The thing that happened to Ron DeSantis in particular.
Yeah, there should be a huge deterrent effect in here, I think.
We're going to keep following all this along,
Putting it out into the world, Andrew.
As 2028 gets closer and closer, we will unfortunately have to talk about all of this stuff more and more. But we can leave it there for now. We have already, like I said, put enough unsettling thoughts out there into the world for our people to sort of become poisoned by. I find it almost too horrible even to think, like, this idea that you're putting forward that, like, we may end up in a world where 5 consecutive presidential elections have a Trump as the Republican nominee, dating from 2016, what was it, 16, 20, 24, 28, and 32. So, but it's I'm poking at different parts of the logic train, and I'm coming up empty so far. So we'll come back to it. I'll try to think of some good reasons why this should not keep me up at night from now until 2032.
Tell us in the comments if you can find any holes in it. I want to hear it.
Thanks, JBL, for coming and talking through your early handicapping of the 28 contest. Obviously, there's also plenty of other problems. More immediate things. We have to deal with the Strait of Hormuz and 96 other more pressing authoritarian issues. So maybe we can just maybe those will just sort of shove all of this out of our brains for a little while yet before we really have to swallow the bitter pill and really start thinking about it. But thanks, JBL, for coming on and talking about it. Thanks to you guys all out there for watching. Hope you subscribe to the channel on YouTube or on Substack, wherever you are. Go subscribe to the Triad. JBL wrote this stuff down, and it's lovely. It's a great newsletter. So that's over at thebulwark.com. But thanks, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.
Being an American right now is a wild ride. Donald Trump and his administration.
Shut up. Vouch memes.
I'm not going to be satisfied until everyone who watches me understand that everything happening right now would be happening if Kamala Harris won. Not
what? Everything? The executive orders targeting law firms? The deporting people to CCOT? Alligator Alcatraz? Iran twice? Everything?
exactly the same, but fundamentally the same. And if you can't see the difference between those two things, I genuinely don't think you're mature enough to understand the content that I produce in this channel. Because I keep having arguments about this where people are like, if Kamala Harris was a president, then this little thing would have been different. Yeah, but the nation of the United States has been on a long terminal decline for decades, and it's not been up to the whims of the President Trump, okay? It has been a product of a bipartisan consensus on certain policy decisions, one of which being our deference to Israel.
Oh my God. Please, 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 please let Israel fall into the Mediterranean. Just drift away. Please, God. I'm sorry. It's been too much, Israel. We must part ways at this point. I can't listen to people talking about you anymore.
Remember how people gave me a bunch of shit for saying that the Biden/Kamala Harris administration, as if there's a difference, would have attacked Iran too? Have you seen this? Former Biden administration senior advisor Amos Hochstein said he supported last summer's Operation Midnight Hammer.
In July 2024, Secretary Blinken claimed Iran was 1 or 2 weeks away from having enough fissile material breakout capacity to eventually make a weapon if Iran had decided to do so. There were indirect negotiations that the Biden administration did, but it went nowhere. So when President Trump argues that he did when no other president would, is it just simply that the bill was coming due and it fell on his watch?
I do think there's a certain element to that. And that's why
you guys fucking flamed me. There were posts in the subreddit.
Like, this was probably, of all the things that Trump admin did, I guess unless you fucking hate America, this is probably the most defensible thing, right? Iran should not have nuclear weapons, okay? I'm sorry. I know that a lot of weirdos like Vaush or Hassan like to cope with this. Well, if Israel can have nukes, then why can't Iran have nukes? Which is just a very unserious thing to say if you're a serious person. But, I mean, like, of all the things that the Trump admin did, this is probably, for better or for worse, the most defensible.
YouTube chat was mad at me when I said this. I said that the attack on Iran was almost inevitable because Israel was pushing it and Kamala Harris and Biden were completely subservient to Israel, and that the Democratic establishment was happy that Trump did it in his term because they wouldn't have to take the flak for it.
Was supportive of President Trump joining in June to take the strikes that we had thought internally in the Biden.
I don't know internal Iranian politics enough, but one thing I wonder is if the reason why it was kind of inevitable, and I don't know if this would have actually changed or not under a Biden or Kamala admin, was that I wonder if Iran has just felt increasingly isolated with the fall of all of their proxies and kind of like allied states, with Assad being gone. Did Assad flee before or after the Iranian strikes? When did Assad leave? I don't remember. But with Hezbollah getting blown up, with Hamas getting fucked. Assad was before. Okay, yeah, with Assad fleeing, I don't know what the fuck the Houthis are doing. Probably blowing themselves up like always. I wonder if Iran is just like, fuck, man, we got to get that nuke shit. We got to get that nuke shit because everything is fucked, you know? Maybe.
Administration, we may have to take, if there was a second term.
Also, an immediate brain dead take. Anybody that is comparing the first attack on Iran to whatever the fuck we're doing now is fucking crazy.
We thought that the spring, summer of 2025 was probably, we may have to be there in the same place. And we did war games. We did some practice runs on what it would look like to look into it. And because that may have had to happen under our watch as well.
Sam Harris getting criticized over his Mamdani take? Oh, really? I thought Sam Harris's take was pretty good.
A few comments.
That Mamdani is a top secret Islamist radical jihadist that's waiting to lead a Muslim revolution against the United States. I thought that was a really reasonable take. Why does every person have to be brain broken? What am I brain broken? Oh, it's on media. My brain broken take's on media. There's like one thing that is just like irredeemably brain broken on people and on dude, for Sam Harris, does anybody have the original video where Sam Harris goes over the Mamdani shit? It's Muslims, man. Holy shit, it's Muslims. Oh my fucking God.
But he said we
may have had to happen. Like they're not even treating it like a political decision or anything that the anything like that the voters get to have an opinion on. You know, like, oh, you don't run, it just happens. Yeah, like it would have happened. War with Iran? Yeah, you know, like it was gonna.
You haven't experienced EU Muslims? Has Sam Harris? What do you mean?
Happen no matter what. Just in inevitability.
A few comments.
Of inertia. We were hurtling towards conflict with Iran no matter. It doesn't matter what the voters want.
He obliterated their nuclear program. The question then is not about what he did in June. This war we were in now did not attack the nuclear facilities again. This was not about the nuclear.
Destiny, are we really this weak? I feel like for the amount of money we spend on military, we should at least do something fast. But Russia getting stuck with Ukraine and the U.S. getting stuck with Iran is odd. No. Hold on. Our stuckedness is not even remotely similar. First of all, we're not stuck on Iran. We fucking fucked Iran up hardcore, okay? Iran got completely obliviated as soon as we decided to obliviate them. The issue is a type of asymmetrical warfare that they can play with the Strait of Hormuz, which for some reason Trump just didn't think about, right? It doesn't require a strong military or a super competent military to do terrorist attacks in a strait to keep boats from moving oil through it, right? Yeah. Like, if we decide to invade Iran and everything, like, we can go in and fuck the country up. It's not going to look like Russia-Ukraine. But, I mean, like, it would be a protracted guerrilla. Well, actually, I don't even know if I could say that. Actually, I don't know what the appetite would be. I just don't know the different factions inside Iran. I don't know what the appetite would be for different groups in there to do some protracted war. I really wouldn't know. But no, we're not Russia status yet. Okay, chill.
So the question now becomes, can you do a deal with the Iranians? And the maximalist positions that both sides have are right now very far apart, despite all the rhetoric that we're almost there or we are there, but if we're not there, we'll bomb the hell out of them.
This guy was literally born in Jerusalem. Yep, he identifies as a moderate or...
Wait, what? Okay, Zionist, though. Because Zionist, that's what he meant, though. Just Zionist. Jesus Christ. Okay, let's go.
Or we are there, but if we're not there, we'll bomb the hell out of them.
This guy was literally born in Jerusalem. Yep, he identifies as a moderate Orthodox Jew. Also, he worked as a lobbyist. So, you know, whoever the, you know, just classic Biden administration staff.
They did not get obliviated. They still have 78% of their drone and stockpiles left. First of all, drones are easy to make, number one, okay? Number two, I'm pretty sure, like, day 30 of the Ukraine-Russia war, Zelensky was invited to Europe or the United States, and Zelensky was out there publicly saying, I don't need blankets, I need bullets or something. And for Iran, 30 days into this, their leaders were all dead. Okay, they're all dead. I don't think it's the same, right? Not to say that we've accomplished our objectives in Iran, but like I don't think it's the same type of conflict, right?
In March 2017, he joined Tellurian, a private Houston-based liquid natural gas company, where he served as senior vice president of marketing until his departure in September 2020. On August 10, 2021, Anthony Blinken announced he'd be appointing Hochstein as the senior advisor for energy security. I love the deep state. I love the deep state. I'm going to keep beating you all with this bat until we accept it, so I don't have to deal with the fucking blowback.
There was a Fuentes video that I tweeted out recently. I wish there was a name to like describe this type of thinking, this type of conspiratorial stuff, where you basically you walk through a person's life and you just like connect a bunch of dots, but you don't actually go as far as to show that there's some type of like causal link where like this person told this person to do this, or this person is working with this person to, you know, achieve this outcome. But it's like when he went to school in 1997, his professor was Eppenstein, Job Leibgenstein. And then afterwards, he went to work for an oil company. And his boss there was Jaloppenstein, who worked in Jerusalem and was a member of the Jaloppenstein family. And then when he got to his new place of work, one of his coworkers, two of his coworkers actually, were the Gleppenstein brothers. And they actually worked with oil in the Middle East with the Gleppenstein family. And then once he graduated, and it's like, okay, like,
that I'm going to get in 2027 and 2028, where I correctly point out the Dems and Republicans are fielding the same candidate. Okay, he served in the IDF. Well, he was born in Jerusalem, so yeah, I would assume so. Republicans are fielding the same candidate. Okay, he served in the IDF. Well, he was born in Jerusalem, so yeah, I would assume so. Okay. Everyone serves the IDF. Unfortunately, I have to agree with you. You were right. I didn't want you to be. Yes, got another one. Yes, it's great. It's very depressing. You know, it's very depressing. For more on that.
And we're joined now by Amos Hochstein. He was a former Biden White House senior energy advisor and Middle East negotiator, and he's now managing partner at the investment firm TWG Global. Good to have you back here.
It's great to be here.
So President Trump
okay, wait though.
is now managing.
He does have a little bit that Netanyahu smile. It's in there. I do see it a little bit. Am I crazy? Am I seeing Jew everywhere? A little bit, just a little bit.
Partner at the investment firm TWG Global. Good to have you back here.
It's great to be here.
So President Trump said current gas prices are not very high, but regular gas costs are average like $4.05 a gallon. Last time we saw that was under the Biden administration when Russia invaded Ukraine. So if you were advising President Trump today, how do you make sure this spike isn't...
Kamala Harris also said she would not have gotten in this war. Yeah, so who do you believe? Kamala Harris, who says, who while campaigning said she was going to be harder on Iran than Trump, but now, after the Iran war has actually, begun, said that she would not have gotten us into this war.
What is why does nobody ever take apart the context of any of these statements, though? Like, think about it. Has Trump been... Like, it's a weird thing. When we say, like, Trump and being hard on Iran, like, I mean, in a way he is. He went to war with them and blew their shit up and killed all the leaders. But then he also wants to cut a deal with them that is so much more favorable than any deal that fucking Obama or anybody had ever cut with it. So it's like, it's never going into the context of any of these statements.
Or the Biden energy advisor who says that Biden in his second term probably would have had to do this anyway. Who do you believe?
Long lasting.
Well, we're at over $4 now because we have a real disruption. In the Russian invasion of Ukraine, we had a concern of a disruption that never actually happened, and it went all the way up to 5. For the president right now, any continued duration of closure of the Straits of Hormuz will have to have a spike in prices. When you have an energy crisis like the Strait of Hormuz, it's very slow moving, and then it's like falling off a cliff. Because when you close the straits, the world still has all the tankers that were on the water before. Mm-hmm. And that could take 25, 30...
All these economies get hit. I mean, in Europe, they're saying...
The administration's been saying, we have plenty in the U.S. Great. Been saying...
Managing partner TWG Global.
True. I found the easiest question to find out if someone is mind broken on the Iran war shit. What do you think would happen if the U.S. adopted the IRGC mentality for 24 hours? If they can't admit that, then the entire country would be glass of their brain broken. Oh, sure. You can say the same thing for the IDF, though. If the IDF were to fight like Hamas for 2 weeks, do you think that it would look better or worse for the Palestinians? I don't know if they would even answer the question.
Born in Jerusalem, works for a Houston-based liquid natural gas company, briefly gets to be energy advisor to Biden, then goes back to working. God, man, oh man, I'm getting real sick of it, man. By the way, it wasn't just the Biden administration. He worked for Hillary Clinton and Kerry as Secretary of State. Like he's been involved for a long time. He's tapped in, yeah.
We have plenty in the U.S. Great, but if you leave the U.S. and there's no jet fuel on the other side. So what happens is the fuel surcharges that Americans are going to see, that are already starting to see, and ahead of Memorial Day in the summer, tickets are going to be very expensive. When jet fuel is expensive in the rest of the world, it is also expensive here.
And we saw Spirit Airlines really struggling under that with a bankruptcy issue. Let me ask you about your Mideast experience
Spirit.
here. In July 2024, Secretary Blinken claimed Iran was 1 or 2 weeks away from having enough fissile material breakout capacity to eventually make a weapon if Iran had decided to do so. There were indirect negotiations that the Biden administration did.
I genuinely don't think the Dems would have been unhinged enough to start this, but he's literally saying that they were in talks, that in Biden's first term, they were talking about how they might have to do this in a second. Like he's directly saying it. I don't know what other evidence you need to that point.
But
he's directly saying that they were in talks to do something related to them having a nuclear weapon, that maybe to prevent that. So they basically would have invaded Iran, just like Trump is doing today. He's directly saying it.
Aware. So when President Trump argues that he did when no other president would, is it just simply that the bill was coming due and it fell on his watch?
I do think there's a certain element to that. And that's why I was...
He's only referring to the strike Trump did last year? Yeah, the strike that Trump did last year was us declaring war on Iran. Like...
Well, okay. I mean, like, he's not technically wrong, but also it's like... There is a difference between as much as you might not like to think of it that way, there is a difference between a limited strike with a clear objective versus a regime change war, right? Because if you want to say that, if you want to say that that strike was us declaring war on Iran, what about us assassinating the head of the IRGC under Trump's first term, when Trump literally he blew that dude up in the Iraqi airport, the Soleimani guy? I mean, like, was it that declaring war? Right? I mean, but there's a difference.
And that's how that works. We like carpet bombed their research facilities. That's war. No, it's not. Yes, it is. If Iran sent a bunch of missiles and bombers over to America and bombed us and killed a bunch of our civilians, I think it would very unambiguously be interpreted as an act of war.
Well, what about when groups that they supported did it in Iraq for the past decade?
Only in the Americanoid mind can this be interpreted as like a... It's not like you're...
Also, wait, does that mean Hamas declared war on on Israel?
Or striking Yemen or some other failed state or whatever. Like, Iran is a cohesive, organized, militarized state, you know? We did it. It was an act of war, you know? Whether or not Congress authorized it is not really relevant. Congress doesn't authorize shit.
Supportive of President Trump joining in June to take the strikes that we had thought internally in the Biden administration we may have to take if there was a second term. We thought that the spring, summer of 2025 was probably, we may have to be there in the same place. And we did war games. We did some practice runs on what it would look like to look into it. And because that may have had to happen under our watch as well. But he said
talking about it was what every admin does. We probably have a military plan to invade Antarctica. Yeah, we have a military plan for everything, but he's saying that he might have had to do it. They're talking about strikes in a nuclear facility. He was an advisor to the Department of Energy. Like, this was his department. Why are you not taking him at his word? This is like a Biden admin deep state guy who's worked with the Democrats for 20 years.
Biden admin deep state guy.
Like, very straightforward.
This guy was the sole foreign policy dictator in the whole Biden admin.
We probably would have had to do this too. I don't know, like, why not take him at his word here? You know, if you think he's an arch Zionist who's incentivized to lie, then okay, why the fuck did Biden hire him? Why did Democrats hire him for like 20 years? You know,
obliterated their nuclear program. The question then is not about what he did in June. This war we were in now did not attack the nuclear facilities again. This was not about the nuclear. So the question now becomes,
he's a Zionist, it's hard to take them at their word. Unless their word is them saying they want to attack Iran, in which case I think that it's okay to take them at their word.
Deal.
Jesus Christ.
With the Iranians, and the maximalist positions that both sides have are right now very far apart, despite all the rhetoric that we're almost there, or we are there, but if we're not there, we'll bomb the hell out of them.
Right, or who knows who's going to show up or not show up from the Iranian side to negotiate with. I thought that was interesting that the ambassador acknowledged that.
Well, look, Margaret, when you have a negotiation that's being done loosely.
Hello? Oh. Fuck. Yeah, shoot me. Wait, yeah, link me the stories you're going to go over and I can do it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, just shoot me an email. Okay. Bye. Oh, boy. Yeah, should be fun. Bye. Brad wants me to do a panel at 2. Oh, boy.
Right, phone calls and no real paper. You get to a point where Iran says Lebanon was included. The U.S. says no, it wasn't. The Iranians say we're opening the straits because...
Inflating a single strike in a research facility to carpet bombing their capital is insane.
True.
It wasn't a single strike. It was a carpet bombing in the research facilities. Also, I'm not conflating them. I'm saying that they're admitting they would have engaged in military action against Iran under a second...
I hate Vosh, okay? But notice how... God, I hate Hassan so much. Notice how Vosh, when he reads criticisms from chat, at least he can like read a strong criticism and then he can respond to the strong criticism. As opposed to Hassan, who will read the most retarded thing from chat and then try to respond to that. But I think Vosh's responses are bad, but...
Was a carpet bombing in the research facilities. Also, I'm not conflating them. I'm saying that they're admitting they would have engaged in military action against Iran.
So it was a carpet bomb. What does he think carpet bombing means? Okay.
Under a second Biden term. Why the fuck are you defending this? I'm not saying that Biden... You liberals, you always defer back to this Mott and Bailey position where I point out the underlying policy position of both admins would have been the same, and your point is like, well, they wouldn't have done exactly the same thing. I'm not saying they would have done exactly the same thing. I'm saying that both admins would have been deferential to Israel's interests and would have attacked Iran, which would have led to similar...
What about all of the actual statements, though, from like world leaders or from Israeli and U.S. leaders that say that Biden did not explicitly follow through on exactly what Israel wanted, or that Obama didn't explicitly follow through on what Israel wanted? Like...
destabilizing consequences in the region. Like, an admin that was willing to bomb their nuclear facilities is also an admin that would be willing to engage in follow-up action that would lead to the closure of the strait. We fucked up.
Okay.
We shouldn't have bombed their nuclear facilities either. Like, what? You're just rolling the dice every time on whether or not they close the strait? Does that sound like a good foreign policy to you? The result of the attack of the facility was not the death of tens of thousands and destroying the world economy and strengthening Russia. Are you simple? It led to that. What are you talking?
No, it did not. They didn't. Did they do anything in the strait? I'm trying to think when was it Midnight Hammer? I hate these stupid operation names. Did Iran even threaten the strait? I don't remember. When we did the very first set of bombings?
talking about? That's like the A led to B. The attacks on the nuclear facility were a deference to Israel's foreign policy interests by continuing to maintain aggression against Iran, which led to the follow-up. The Trump administration also didn't say that they would bomb Tehran and kill the Ayatollah. Do you not see the underlying pattern of deference, the similar wavelength? You're arguing like a counterfactual that can't be proven or disproven. Well, just because this guy admits that he would have gone 50% as far as Trump doesn't mean he would have gone 100%. It didn't lead to it, even though they're related. You're actually fucking retarded. I'm sorry, dog. This is an insane level.
That guy is true. He's right. Even though they're related, it didn't really necessarily lead to it. We didn't have to invade or do what the fuck we're doing now.
Of Democratic dick sucking. That's fucking crazy to me. We're literally looking at an advisor being like, we would have done much the same. And you're like, well, he didn't say they do all the same things. What do you...
Well, didn't he say we would have done the strike on the nuclear facilities possibly, but we wouldn't have done the same? But Vosh is arguing it's all the same. Whatever. Okay.
It's crazy. What are you talking about?
Crazy.
By the way, the Biden admin defended the Mossad pager attack and the bombing. They defended everything Israel did, man. They defended everything Israel did.
Wait, do these guys ever have to defend why they were against the pager attack? I always felt like the pager attack was like the one thing where it's like, okay. So there's literally nothing Israel can do where you guys are okay with it, right? There's literally nothing that, because I feel like that was like the most targeted attack. Wasn't it? Was it one civilian killed? Or was there ever more than that announced? Versus how many Hezbollah people killed? Like, was that too much? The 1 to 1,000 ratio? That was unacceptable? I don't know.
I don't know if it means much, but didn't Kamala put up a big statement fully condemning military action in Iran? Yeah, when she's not the one leading it. Yeah, no shit. That's the point. The Democrats are happy that Trump is taking the flak. But the Biden administration and the Democrats now, both, they don't argue against the underlying logic of the Trump administration. They also think that all means are on the table when it comes to keeping Iran from developing a nuclear program, which means they're also in favor of strikes against Iran. If the Democrats believe that you should be able to do anything to prevent Iran from getting a nuke...
Do you think Vosh is trying to become Sun's waiting room lately? He sounds more and more unhinged. We're talking about Israel colluding with the Democrats. No, I don't think so. I think he's pretty happy in the little corner that he's carved out for himself. But but Israel is just, it is the brain breaker. That's the one, man. That's the one that gets them all, is Israel.
They also agree with Trump that you should bomb Iran. Like, it's a one-to-one. If everything is on the table, that is what it will lead to. Chuck Schumer literally said Trump was tacoing out by not continuing. Yeah, no, they're so fucking bloodthirsty, man.
It's completely open. And the Americans say, no, the blockade is staying. If there's no paper, no serious negotiation on this, and we're trying to do it really quickly to assuage markets, then you get to these misunderstandings. And now we're in a worse position.
Dems probably would have done the 2025 strikes. No way in hell they would have done the 2026 strikes to get the straight close. Do you people, okay, genuinely, do you not understand cause and effect? The reason the 2026 strikes happened was because Israel wanted to maintain pressure against Iran. The original strikes in 2025, Operation Midnight Hammer, were a deference to Israel's foreign policy interests. 2026 was a follow-through from 2025. The only reason 2026 happened was because in 2025, we already indicated that we were willing to strike Iran in order to prevent them from developing nukes. The original pretext for striking in 2026 was to, again, prevent them from getting nuclear weapons. If you have already acknowledged that you see to the logic of we can strike Iran to prevent them from getting nukes, that is where it leads to. That is where the logic leads to. Democrats already defended Israel's aggression against Syria and Lebanon. Like, the idea that Democrats would have put a hard line down here, I don't know. Would they have done things slightly differently? Sure, maybe. But like, the underlying problem, which is warring in the Middle East, would have continued. Do you not see that? The reason they did these things is preserved. It's the same idea.
Very serious issue.
Come on, guys.
And I think it shouldn't take just 3 days to do a nuclear deal. It's really, really critical.
Right.
But if the straits are not opened soon...
Dems didn't even care when Israel bombed Qatar. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember what it was like in the Biden admin post-October 7th, but every day you'd wake up to a headline of Israel illegally bombing like one of 8 neighboring countries. Like Gulf states, Syria, Lebanon, Iran. It didn't matter, man. They were doing all of it. And every day you get the fucking Department of State briefing where they would pretend to not know anything and then defend it anyway. Like
Sounds like you guys talking about every single surrounding Muslim state where they're bombing everybody constantly. I still think one of my favorite comments of all time was Hassan thinking that he'd like discovered some huge Jewish conspiracy. He was like, did you guys know that ISIS killed more Arabs and never even fucking went and attacked Israel? Isn't that weird, guys? And it's like, he's so close.
It was every day, man. Every day. It never stopped.
The leverage that they have, and my concern is no matter how the war ends, the Iranians now have a card they never had before in practice. In theory, we knew they can close the straits, but they never did. And now for the foreseeable future, they have this card against us and against their neighbors.
Why do you think President Trump isn't deploying his top diplomat, his national security advisor? Why aren't we seeing Secretary of State Rubio leading on this?
I mean, that's a mystery that I think many in the region and around the United States are asking. Why is this not being run by the Secretary of State, who's also his national security advisor? Maybe the Secretary of State doesn't believe that this is the right approach. I don't know. You have to ask him if you can get him to answer that question.
But we would love for him to join.
What's the point of him doing this interview? I don't know. Probably setting up his next like lobbyist position.
I'm sure you would. But that's a real mystery. Look, the Vice President of the United States is...
But does it show, when you're going to the negotiating table, the Vice President going is important because the last 2 times Witkoff and Kushner showed up with the Iranian delegation, the talks fell apart. In fact, they ended in bombing. So you need someone who wasn't there the last 2 times it failed, right?
And you need someone who is senior enough that the Iranians believe.
Can I just say how crazy everything is crazy, but how like crazy / funny it is that we've got like this crazy war that's impacting global oil markets, everything's fucked. Our vice president goes there and they negotiate for 23 hours and then give up and go home. Like, oh fuck, we tried. What? How long you think we're gonna stay there? We got round trip tickets, bro. My flight's out the next day. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? My flight's out the next day. Check this clip for the type of speech you were talking about. Destiny, concerning the Patriot attack, there is an apparent harmless object rule in the CCW. For rules of war? Oh, no. If you're talking about like rules of war, the pager attack was 1 trillion% illegal. You're not allowed to, you can't booby trap shit and have it explode on people who aren't like active participants in combat. Yeah, I was just talking about, but I mean, none of these people care about the rules of war ever. The pro Hamas side or whatever, they're always making excuses for it.
I've started without you. I hope you don't mind. You British. What is it with your obsession?
I've watched this before. Did we watch this on stream or was this on my own time? I don't remember.
I've started without you. I hope you don't mind. You British. What is it with your obsession with chips? We don't obsess over chips. Only the weather. Now to business. I understand you're interested in a certain Russian by the name of Petrov. What do you know about him? He's been passing sensitive information to MI5 for 10 years. So he's an asset? No. The information turned out to be false. We believe that he's working for someone else and passing information from MI5 over to them. The Russians? No. The Russians imprisoned him after a plot that he was involved in to steal a nuclear weapon was foiled. He went to jail? No.
I thought you said the Patriot attack was a good thing. Well, with like respect to the region, technically you shouldn't really be doing that, but everything over there is fucked up.
A doppelganger was put in his place and he fled to Oslo. It was there where he met his wife, Linda Purcell, a multimillionaire big in diamonds. Now, our satellite detected a detonation in Siberia 3 weeks ago. The following day, Petrov and Purcell flew directly to that site. On the way there, the plane crashed. Accident? It was hit by a missile. Ah. We salvaged fragments of the missile and traced them back to a weapons company in Germany called Schmerzelsfolger. Never heard of them. That's because they don't exist. At least, not yet. What do you mean? 2 days before the detonation in Siberia, we intercepted a phone call between Petrov and a man called Darian Burkar to start a weapons company in Germany called Schmerzelsfolger. Darian Burkar, the scientist? I thought he was dead. He is dead. Or rather, he isn't. What does that mean? He's dead, but he won't be. Yeah, I still don't... Have you ever heard of Cecil's theorem of quantum mechanics and the possibility of ripples in the space-time continuum? Of course, but it's never been proved. We believe that it has. In Siberia 3 weeks ago. What about the plane crash? The plane crash didn't happen. Or rather it will, but it won't yet. And even if it does, there's no evidence to suggest that the people on board died or are yet to die. What does this have to do with Schmerzelsfolger? That's what we want you to find out. We believe that the answer may lie in a painting at the National Gallery. What? 23 years ago, the Fighting Temeraire by...
Okay, we get it. It's the plot of Tenet, okay?
Speaks for the president. So I think that it's important that the vice president or someone go. I think it would have been great if we could.
Not to mention, nothing outside of nuclear weapons could destroy all the Iranian enriched uranium in the mountain tunnels. Yeah, like if the Democrats agree that you should be able to attack Iran in order to prevent them from getting nukes, does that not lead to continued attacks on Iran anyway? Like, doesn't that make all of this inevitable? Because we know Israel wants to attack Iran. If the Democrats also believe it's okay to attack Iran to prevent them from getting nukes, doesn't that give them like infinite justification into the future? So Operation Midnight Hammer buried their enriched uranium. Okay, well the excuse for the 2026 attacks was that they were also close to getting a nuclear weapon because they still had the enriched uranium. Like, wouldn't it just keep? It would just keep going. It's gonna keep going until a Democrat acknowledges that whether or not Iran gets nuclear weapons isn't our fucking business.
To a point where we have preparatory talks, and you send the vice president at the end of the process in order to break the logjam.
Wow.
Stay with us, if you would. I do have to take a break, but I have more to finish on this topic. On Friday of this past week, we saw the president announce 10 days of pause to halt the fighting between...
Basically, Wait, was what she's saying a little gay? I don't understand.
On Friday of this past week, we saw the president announce 10 days of pause to halt...
I'm sorry.
The fighting between...
Basically, we the liberals in chat aren't saying Democrats aren't subservient to Israel. We are saying they're less stupid than Trump. Probably sufficiently unstupid to prevent the strikes from happening in the first place. The strikes were just too dumb. Okay, but this is like genuinely, this is the lowest bar imaginable. And also you're basically saying like, well, the Democrats would have raped us more like kindly, I guess. Like the Democrats would also enable a nonstop state of war in the Middle East where Israel gets to attack their neighboring countries and Democrats lie to defend them nonstop. But at least they would have been like slightly more intelligent in their defense. If that's the best argument you have, I genuinely, and I'm not kidding, would prefer the Republicans because at least they're retarded enough to make a spectacle out of it. Jesus. I would rather Republicans like do the same thing but stupider, so at least everyone can pay attention to how bad it is, rather than the Democrats like ineptly, feebly going through the same, rigmarole, but doing it with a modicum of competence so we get to maintain the empire for another 20 years. Like, what we're doing is bad. That Trump is doing it stupidly is, I guess, like a multiplicative factor, but the underlying equation, like, you can multiply it times 1.5 all you want. If the starting number is bad, the end number is going to be bad. We need to fix the underlying problem here, man. Like, isn't it bad that the Liberal Party, the Democrats, is in favor of unpopular permanent war in the Middle East to be deferential to the political and military interests of Israel? Like, isn't that bad? Is that not a concern? Isn't that illiberal? Like, at least the Republicans are doing an illiberal thing, right? Like, that's on brand for them. They're not liberals, so they're doing something illiberal. But the Democrats are also doing something illiberal. But they're supposed to be the liberals. I don't like. Isn't that a problem for you? I don't know. I feel
Plot of Tenet. There it is.
The Democrats should be proposing some kind of meaningful alternative a little bit.
Hezbollah and Israel, which is basically linked to the big deal he really wants to get to with Iran. What do you make of this, Drews?
So a few things. One, I'm glad.
Yeah, it'd be like SPD fans in the 1930s being like, well, we were going to do the Holocaust too, but we were going to do it non-violently or whatever. We were just going to deport them, not kill them. Like, and then people in the subreddit and chat are like, well, it would have been better than what the Nazis did. I'm like, yeah, I guess. I don't know if that's a good position to start from.
That the fire is halted, even if it's a pause. The worrisome part is that it was seen as a ceasefire that was brokered by Iran by insisting on a Lebanese ceasefire before they would show up to talks in Pakistan. That's a disaster because the one thing we have always been emphasizing, Iran does not control Lebanon. It has none of their business what happens in Lebanon. Hezbollah has been unmasked in this conflict over the last couple of years as not really a Lebanese fighting organization or terrorist organization as they claim, but rather they said we are doing this at the behest of the Iranians. And
this is just a lie, but it's good to hear the Democrats repeating the same lies that Israel and the Republicans do. Hezbollah is the de facto military of Lebanon, formed because the Lebanese government is inept and weak, and also because Israel keeps fucking invading Lebanon. Like what?
Whoa! Wait. He was reading a crazy comment in chat, right? Whoa! Hold on. Wait. I'm sorry. That was a wild take. Hold on. Wait. Whoa. Hold up. Whoa. Hold up.
Because the one thing we have always been emphasizing, Iran does not control Lebanon. It has none of their business what happens in Lebanon. Hezbollah has been unmasked in this conflict over the last couple of years as not really a Lebanese fighting organization or terrorist organization as they claim, but rather they said we are doing this at the behest of the Iranians. And
this is just a lie, but it's good to hear the Democrats repeating the same lies that Israel and the Republicans do. Hezbollah is the de facto military of Lebanon, formed because the Lebanese government is inept and weak, and also because Israel keeps fucking invading Lebanon. So for him to repeat that, like again, the underlying logic remains the same, doesn't it? Whether it's Republican or Democrat, the logic here is, well, attacking Hezbollah isn't really attacking Lebanon, you know? Yeah, it might be an army hundreds of thousands of people strong that defends and represents the interests of the majority of Lebanon, and the official Lebanese government is too weak to do anything about it, and, you know, in large part, power and legitimacy in governments derives from a monopoly on the ability to commit violence. But, you know, forget all of that. They're fake. It's like a fake group. Just a few 100,000 people and a bunch of weapons and rockets and missiles and stuff. Don't worry about it, you know?
Allowing the Iranians to dictate terms.
Like, does he think that does he think like the majority of Lebanese people want Hezbollah, like as this military in their country, this like military thing that exists in their country that, by the way, are like outwardly, this isn't like a conspiracy, but they like, I don't know if they formally pledge allegiance, but it's an Iranian proxy. Like everybody knows that and understands that. Like these are the guys that were fighting alongside even Assad against the anti-Assad forces during the entire Syrian civil war. Like these guys have taken over all of southern Lebanon to have their fucking shit set up everywhere. Like, does he think that it's like their IDF? That's just like a crazy summary.
Is not a good thing. However, direct talks between Israel, even at the lower level, at the ambassador level, is a good development.
Which congressman is this guy? Moderate Orthodox, born in Jerusalem, worked as a lobbyist and consultant for a Houston-based fossil fuel company, been in and out of Democrat administrations for 20 years, advised the Biden administration for the Department of Energy, close confidant of Biden throughout his presidency, now works as a senior manager at some hedge fund. Yeah, the least corrupt Democrat consultant yet found. We found the most ethical, least compromised Democratic consultant.
Most of the Lebanese people want to see a lasting ceasefire. Even if they don't want to see a peace agreement, they want to see end of conflict. But we have to have a serious effort here. There's such a great moment of opportunity. It will not be a moment of opportunity if Israel is occupying a significant part of Lebanon to reestablish a buffer zone.
I mean, without Iran's weapons, what would Hezbollah be? An army of hundreds of thousands of people with lots of weapons? I'm not sure what you mean. Like Iran.
Opportunity. It will not be a moment of opportunity if Israel is occupying a significant part of Lebanon to reestablish a buffer zone.
I mean, without Iran's weapons, what would Hezbollah be? An army of hundreds of thousands of people with lots of weapons? I'm not sure what you mean. Like Iran does back Hezbollah, but the idea that Hezbollah exists only because of Iran is just factually incorrect.
They are an Iranian proxy that is heavily, insanely funded by Iran that gets training and leadership from Iran. I don't know if Hezbollah exists I don't know if necessarily they would be able to exist at all without funding and support from Iran.
They exist because Israel invaded Lebanon. Like they formed because Israel invaded Lebanon and were forced to leave. Thank you, Reagan.
That won't work because ultimately that will help Hezbollah reestablish its political footing and their narrative. So we have to get to the table, make sure Israel withdraws from Lebanon, stop the fighting.
I think they did form in the 80s. I don't remember all the details around the first Lebanese civil war. Although they kind of sucked shit back then. I don't know if that Hezbollah, though, was the same necessarily. I would need to do more reading into the history of Hezbollah. I don't know that the Hezbollah that exists today and has existed since at least the 2000s has literally been like, we pledge allegiance to the fucking the Iranian, the Ayatollah, and we're gonna serve their cause and everything and do whatever we need to in Syria and all that. Like he's just been, I don't know. I feel like everybody that opposes Israel in these guys' eyes just get labeled as like the good guys. Like they're just they're literally just freedom fighters. Like it's crazy. I'm sorry. It's crazy to think that Israel is a country who fought basically completely on their own until 1973 and managed to ward off, the fighting Arab countries. And somehow people like Vosh will say Israel only exists because of the United States of America. If it wasn't for the USA, Israel wouldn't exist. But then you look at Hezbollah, that is a total Iranian proxy that pledges allegiance to Iran, that gets funding, troops, like weapons and everything else from Iran. And then, but they're like a totally independent thing that if Iran didn't exist, they would still exist in more or less the same capacity. That's just a crazy take to me. I don't know.
Its political footing and their narrative. So we have to get to the table, make sure Israel withdraws from Lebanon, stop the fighting, and give the actual help to Lebanon to disarm Hezbollah. They cannot do it on their own.
Ambassador Waltz on that. Can they do that? And to be clear, the Israelis have said not only that they're going to stay in southern Lebanon.
They're also very much an Iranian proxy. Both labels are true. I feel like calling Hezbollah an Iranian proxy is like calling Ukraine an American proxy. Like they.
It's just the Israeli brain breaking stuff. I don't know what you would say. His brain is broken on this topic, but it's Israel, bro. What are you gonna do? Somebody linked an article from The Conversation. You can go read on this on your own time, but is it right to see Hezbollah primarily as an Iran-backed militia? Yes, Hezbollah is primarily an Iranian-backed militia. It exists to serve the Iranian regime and expand its ideology of the region, as set out in the group's 1985 manifesto. Also, it was all the way back when they first formed. In 2009, Hezbollah issued a new manifesto in which it reaffirmed its commitment to the Shiite Islamic resistance led by Tehran. As to its financial and military support, in 2016, Nasrallah confirmed Hezbollah's budget, everything it eats and drinks, its weapons and rockets, comes from the Islamic Republic of Iran. Furthermore, with the backing of Iran, Hezbollah was able to create and expand its own illegal financial network through money laundering, drug trafficking, and other unlawful activities. Along with Iran, Syria played a major role in Hezbollah's development. The Taif Agreement called for Syrian armed forces to enter Lebanon for a 2-year period to help establish law and order after more than a decade of civil war.
They receive our weapons and training, and not as much as I'd like, but they do receive our weapons and training.
And to be clear, the Israelis have said not only that they're going to stay in southern Lebanon.
They're also very much an Iranian proxy. Both labels are true. I feel like calling Hezbollah an Iranian proxy is like calling Ukraine an American proxy. Like they receive our weapons and training, and not as much as I'd like, but they do receive our weapons and training. And also, there's like a shared geopolitical interest, but the impetus from the Ukrainians to defend themselves would exist whether or not America had anything to do with it. Likewise with Hezbollah. Hezbollah has literal IRGC officers in the structures. Yeah, and Ukraine has received direct training from NATO officers.
The comparison. Even he can't even speak the sentence to make it even sound the same because he knows how ridiculous this claim is. Oh my God.
Just saying that the impetus from Hezbollah and the Lebanese people to defend themselves against Israel exists whether or not Iran supplies them with arms or people. Like it's just a fact,
But also take some of the territory that they had seized after Assad fell in Syria. So it's a serious negotiation that has to take place.
This is a tactical victory for Israel that will lead once again an overreach that will lead them to lose more ground.
I want to ask you, as a Democrat, there was this extraordinary...
Why does he even deny Hezbollah being an Iranian proxy? What grounds does he gain from that? Because it's like Israel is bullying everybody and fighting everybody, and these poor surrounding states are just trying their best to defend themselves against the evil, crazy Zionists, sorry.
But this past week in the Senate, 40 Senate Democrats tried to block a U.S. weapons sale to Israel, and that adds to this growing rift we have seen between your party and Benjamin Netanyahu. Do you think Democrats are going to come to regret this break in the alliance?
So I hope that it's not a break in the alliance. I think what it really demonstrates is for the last several years, Prime Minister Netanyahu has sacrificed Israel's interest in the United States. The most important asset that Israel has is not its military or its intelligence.
The framing there was crazy. Do you think Americans will come to regret not supporting Israel? What the fuck do you mean by that? Hey, what the fuck do you mean? Excuse me. Who's the fucking superpower here? I'm sorry. Do you think Democrats will come to regret no longer defying the wishes of their constituency by supporting a tiny...
Well, it's not about who's in charge. I mean, Americans, I think, should come to regret not supporting Ukraine. But it's not like Ukraine is stronger than us, so we, are going to get bullied by them in the future. But okay.
No state in the Middle East that has 1/20th the population of the United States and is totally dependent on American aid and political support. You think we'll regret that?
It's the special relationship with the United States that has been bipartisan for so many decades. He has destroyed that because he has decided to become not just part of the Republican Party, but he's decided to become just an appendage of Donald Trump. And so every
Oh yeah, that's the problem with Israel. That Netanyahu's gone Republican. Hey, I wonder why Biden was so deferential to him then. You know,
Was he though? Why do you think that Netanyahu was so much happier to see Trump in office? Why do you think Netanyahu rat-fucked Biden with that Hamas agreement, with the ceasefire stuff, until Trump came into office? Why do you think that Netanyahu and other people have reported that Biden wasn't giving into exactly what Netanyahu wanted when Biden was in office? But okay.
This is the naked cowardice of a person whose only job is to make sure the Democrats remain complicit as well. It's totally like, get us someone other than Netanyahu who will do a better job of respecting the bipartisan consensus of American deference to Israel, you know?
Democrat now sees if you want to be Trump, great. If we're anti-Trump, then by de facto, we are against you. I think this has a lot to do with Bibi Netanyahu and his extremist right-wing government, and not to do with...
Remember to pause real quick and tell everybody, remember, this is the new anti-Zionist talking point. Netanyahu is not an extremist. Netanyahu is the average Israeli citizen. Every single Israeli citizen is as far right as Smotrich or Ben-Gvir. Every single Israeli and every Zionist around the world, Jew.
Israel. Look, you have half of Israel is
Of course he's saying that, even though the entire government is far right.
Against Bibi.
Yeah.
So I think this Democrat should be aligning.
Why do you torture yourself watching this? Because I'm not going to be satisfied until everyone who watches me understand that everything happening right now would be happening if Kamala Harris won. All of the underlying everything. Not exactly the same, but fundamentally the same. And if you can't see the difference between those two things, I genuinely don't think you're mature enough to understand the content that I produce in this channel. Because I keep having arguments about this where people are like, if Kamala Harris was a president, then this little thing would have been different. Yeah, but the nation of the United States has been on a long terminal decline for decades, and it's not been up to the whims of the President Trump, okay? It has been a product of a bipartisan consensus in certain policy decisions, one of which being our deference to Israel.
With Israel, not with Bibi. But I think this is a very big wake-up call this week, that vote.
Significant vote.
Disgusting. Well, anyway, I fucking told you.
He got you guys.
Here is candidate Mally McMurrow.
No, I'm good. Jesus Christ.
A few comments here. I'm sorry, but Sam, equating Mamdani to Trump is insane. He's infinitely more ethical than any person in the Republican Party. What do you have to say for yourself?
So apologies for one point of confusion there, which really is confusion. He's not the equivalent of Trump. He's a very different sort of character than Trump, right? But also one who we should want nothing to do with politically. I think he's a sinister figure. I think he's a none too closeted Islamist or at minimum apologist for Islamists. He's not ethically sane by my lights at all, though he can seem to be somebody who really just cares about, you know, people who are finding it hard to make ends meet in New York, right? But if you double click on many of his political allegiances and the kinds of things his wife likes on social media and all of that, what you get is a picture of someone who's captured by a fairly sinister theocratic agenda and an anti-Semitic one. You know, this is not about garbage trucks and cleaning up Central Park and really helping the city. The thing that really seems to animate him are these political concerns that don't have a lot to do with being mayor and have a lot to do with Israel and Islam. He's not the worst person you might find.
It's so funny because I feel like, unless being honest, maybe I've missed some things, but I feel like Mamdani tried really hard to get away from talking about like Israel-Palestine. Like it feels like every time he was on like a debate stage or people would ask him, there was that whole thing like, are you gonna go visit? Are you gonna go visit Israel? Are you gonna do blah, blah, blah? And I feel like he just tried to avoid most of that. Now maybe he's made some crazy statements that I've just missed, but
in that vein, but he's far too close to being a shill for Islamist theocrats than I would want.
Mamdani is a shill for Islamist theocrats? Did I miss all this? Jeez.
Sheesh. Running a major American city, to say nothing of our government, right? So if we had a Mamdani character who was a viable presidential candidate who had these kinds of ties to obvious anti-Semites and Islamists and Muslim Brotherhood adjacent evil, I would find that genuinely terrifying.
Jesus. That's going to be a shoosh for
Donald
me.
Trump delivered a
worth reading this Mamdani Act? Yeah, I have to read this because apparently it's going to come up with my debate in a bit. Hold on, 22 minutes here.
Whatever Israel wants, they make a phone call to America. America better.
For this to sink in, but it will sink in.
Yeah, you know, the topic of America first, it's become a little bit more clear where people are being put in different groups. America first and America only, and that debate's going on right now, which is a great debate. I actually like listening to both sides make their argument. Well, you said, do you think President Trump is a type of a man that you can get anything you want and make him do what he wants? I don't think President Trump is. But I do think Biden and others are. So the whole criticism of the fact that Israel, whatever they want, they can call America and have favors being done, I would agree with you on Trump, but with Biden. So maybe a question that I don't think's been asked yet. Putin was asked 2 weeks ago if the war between Ukraine and Russia would have happened under Trump. He said, no, it wouldn't have happened. So for you, would the war and the Hamas attack have happened if President Trump was president instead of Biden?
I don't know. It's a good question, but you said something about Biden that I should just point out the facts. In fact, President Biden supported us in the beginning of the war after this horrific massacre, and he came here, and I very much appreciate it. But as the war progressed and the vilifications of Israel, the distortions on the media began to pile on, he began to take a different course. And when we were just 2/3 of the way, 3/4 of the way in Gaza, I said we have to go into that last position that they had where they had organized battalions. It's in a city called Rafah in the southern part of the Gaza Strip. And he said, don't go there. And he said, if you do go there, I'll smack an embargo on you. Now, you're fighting a 7-front war, and all of a sudden you're slapped with an embargo of weapons. That was tough. And I said to President Biden, who I've known for many years, I respect the fact you're the president of the United States, but I'm the prime minister of the one and only Jewish state, and we've been fighting to survive in our small place under the sun. It's been a battle that has been going on for 3,500 years. So I'll have to do what we have to do. And then a few days later, Tony Blinken, who was the Secretary of State, came to Israel, and he said, the president is serious about this embargo. And I said, Tony, I know it's serious because you stopped all the weapons. You slow walked them before, but now you've stopped them. And then I said to him this. He said, well, how are you going to do it then? I said, Tony, we'll fight with our fingernails if we have to, but we're not going to leave. It's like the Allies would leave a quarter of the German battalions in place and not go into Berlin. And I said, would you take that? Would you take that, Patrick? Of course you wouldn't. So we didn't take it either. We did it against the opposition of the American president. So much for Israel controlling the United States. We don't. But we do.
I like how PBD got the exact fucking opposite answer he was looking for here, by the way.
Seek to control our destiny. And when somebody commits a crime like they did on October 7th, decapitating our men, raping our women and then murdering them, burning children alive in front of their parents, taking 255 hostages, grandmothers with their grandchildren, this horror, and pledge to do it again and again and again. Well, what choice do we have? We have to fight them and their Iranian patrons, and we did just that. No. We did that first with American help, then with American opposition, and when President Trump came in, with great American help, which I truly appreciate. And I think President Trump does what he thinks is good for America. I don't think that. I know that for a fact. He's a great leader.
So going back to that, I want to clarify this again. So you said you don't know whether Hamas October 7 attack would have happened under Trump. So you're saying Hamas would have had the audacity, even under Trump, to have attacked, or no, they would have feared him?
Probably not, but it's hard to say with these maniacs. You can't quite tell.
He's such a dick rider for Trump, dude. Oh my God.
Iran would have been more careful. And Iran is the patron. Would they have controlled completely their client, their proxy? Maybe not. Maybe they would have, possibly. But look, I think President Trump has changed the posture of America. America is back on the global scene. America is resumed.
The hottest country.
It's a powerful position among the nations. And I think that's for the good. Because I think one of the tragedies for the Jewish people.
Here, this is Fan's voice right here.
Think about the fact
fact that there's at least one person jacking off right now? But I don't.
That's me. I do, but I don't mind. That's me. $2,000 for that.
But I don't mind. JetBlue Flight 724.
That's me. He's a so he according to his team, I don't know what's true, but according to his team, he saw the clip because that clip of ours it did very well. It got passed around. And according to Adam Sandler's team, he saw the clip and thought it was very funny and wanted it specifically for this scene. I don't know that's real. I don't know what's true. I don't know any of it, right? But when they sent the email, I sent it to the management people, and I was like, I don't even think this shit's real. And they were like, oh, it's real. We're gonna get you money, $2,000 each. FanFan and I both, $2,000 for this one clip. What? What's the what's?
I don't know what movie this is, but cute.